Hello, I'm Candy, and I create modded City Skylines videos here on YouTube, and today I'm collaborating with Paradox Interactive to bring you the best of what the community has made in terms of mods and assets for City Skylines and City Skylines 2. Today we're showcasing the top mods of the month of March, so let's dive right in. And we're kicking off in City Skylines 2 with the hugely creative Cliffs and Rocks pack by Jurgishka, with 6 different
These are so fire, and I never knew how to say his name.
Here, so if you're looking for
Evil
a way
Doctor,
to
what's
good,
Daddy-o?
or create a natural, realistic-looking bluff,
How
this
art
is
thou?
a perfect pack for you. Keeping on
How
the subject
art
of
thou?
cliffs,
How
but
art
in
thou?
a
Oh,
totally
yes.
different way, next up we have the Clifford Building by Daft.
I actually
This
love that
North
building.
American commercial signature building, based on a real location in Detroit, has beautifully crafted stonework and is sure to make a statement on any street corner in a North
I
American
am glad
city.
you're awake. I am glad you
Now
have
let's switch to
prosperity.
City Skylines
I am
1 with
glad
this
you're
next
here,
asset,
man.
the JP Sapporo TV Tower by Koma.
Also,
This observation
good
tower,
job
based on the
surviving
real-life
until Sunday.
location in
Now
Odori
you have
Park,
to do it all
Hokkaido,
over again
Japan,
for next week, Daddy-o.
is a real statement piece, towering above your city with strength and style. And at the opposite end of the spectrum, you can find Boom Kirk by Carle____. This Roman Catholic church is the latest addition to their Netherlands collection and does not disappoint on details, adding a real sense of history.
It is
and
pretty
purpose
funny
to a
that
city
we're
of
watching
any
something
origin.
about mods when the game is in its
Let's
current
head back
state.
to City Skylines 2
But
with
you
the
know,
platform
this is what
switcher
we
mod
do.
by
This is
modmaker
what we
legend
do.
Light45. This mod lets you convert individual station track segments between train and subway track types and automatically
fire.
replaces the transit stops on those tracks with the correct type,
So
providing you
fire.
an easy way to mix and match your rail and subway station transit hubs. And whilst we're talking transit, you might also want to check out the Better Transit View mod by GNZ Roses.
Which
If you've
I
ever
actually
been
have to
frustrated
use
with
that.
the lack of visibility of transit lines or want an easy way to monitor your connectivity across the city,
Yeah,
this is a must-have
yeah, dude,
mod,
yeah.
providing a much more usable
Yeah,
transit
man.
overview with thicker route lines and a more compact
That's kind of
menu
why I
design.
like the North
How
East Pack
satisfying
anyway,
is that
bro, because it
view?
has more of that type of vibe anyhow.
And you could say
But
we're
we need it
loosely
more, and
sticking
then
on the
Office
theme of
Evolution
transit
as
in the
well.
form of this Ford Transit ice cream van for City Skylines 1 by Blue Thunder and B-Sky. As the description says,
That's cute.
it's just a commercial
Alright.
vehicle. Comes with a prop, but it's
So
certainly a charming one at that.
I'm
Next
encroaching
up, Smiley's
on this
Rocks Our
area
World
here
yet again
where
with the Hillside Terrace
we're gonna
Apartments
end up
pack. This
moving
huge
some
pack
of our
consists of
industry.
14 low-rise modular condos,
Probably-
10 rowables, and 4
I don't know.
angled
There's
corner
like
assets,
several
which
areas
you will need
I want to
Rico to
go.
pop. And if you also subscribe to the optional props, you'll be building out beautifully detailed
Like I want to keep
residential
the fish
blocks
market,
in no
right?
time.
I want to keep the fish market, but
And
I
whilst we're
want
talking
to
residential
start
packs,
like
here's an
really
option for
pushing
you
this
City
further.
Skylines 2 players out there, the Royal Wolf Pack by MTT
And then
HI.
on this
These
side
8 different
here,
sleek, medium density apartment buildings based on the Royal Wolf development in London provide modern brick facades and green roofs for a perfect addition to a trendy housing complex.
this
And let's
is
finish up
asking
today with
for
a
it as
small
well.
but charming
Also,
statement piece with the
this
Plaza Theatre
was
by
a
Green
particular
Blog
bug I saw.
61506. Based on the Plaza Theatre in Atlanta,
actually
this
saw
asset brings
this
real
happen
character
before.
to your city with its
I didn't know
iconic
this was
neon
actually in my
nighttime
city as
lighting.
well.
It's sure to catch the eye of your
Me-
Sims looking for that perfect Saturday night entertainment spot.
Everything else is good.
And that wraps it up for March. You can find links to all the showcase mods in the description of this video. A huge thank you to all the incredible talented creators for making content for the City Skylines franchise, and thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this channel to
Maybe
catch the next video, but that's
we get
all
rid
from
of
me
that
for now.
farm and
I'll see you
pull
next
a
month.
farm up here.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I think we do that. Alright, this is what I'm gonna do. We have a lot of work. Yeah, bro. Yeah, like most definitely. This is, I do have Find It. I don't think I have that in this like barely vanilla mod I have. That was cute though. I needed some of that vibes. This is interesting. We are going to, yeah, I wanted to watch this.
On the streets right now. Not in a concept video, not in a tech demo. Actual robot taxis picking up real passengers at 2 a.m., while the rest of America can't even get a pothole fixed. Waymo alone has logged millions of autonomous miles across this city. And yeah, some of those rides went badly. Cars freezing in intersections, taxis blocking fire trucks. One drove straight into wet concrete, but here's what nobody talks about. San
What is it
Francisco's
that nobody
smart
talks
grid
about?
is quietly becoming one of the most advanced energy networks in North America.
That is a
The
fact.
city runs Clean Power SF,
Yeah,
a
Waymo,
municipal
Waymo.
program pushing renewable energy to hundreds of thousands of customers. Their traffic system uses AI to adjust signal timing across the entire city in real time. You're stuck on the 101, cursing your commute, and somewhere a computer is actually trying to help you. It's not perfect. Housing costs that make your eyes water. Tech wealth
Yeah.
sitting right next to tent encampments. But when it comes to putting actual technology on actual city streets, San Francisco treats the whole city like a beta test, and that's kind of the point. New York doesn't look futuristic.
It
The
doesn't.
subway smells, the streets flood.
Stop
every
talking shit
time it
about New
rains
York.
hard. Half the
The
infrastructure
streets don't even
predates your
flood that bad.
grandparents.
Fuck you.
But underneath all that chaos, something wild is happening.
We have the most
Hudson
advanced,
Yards on Manhattan's west side is one of the largest private
does.
developments in American history,
which is
and it's
insane.
basically a smart city bolted onto old New York. The entire district runs on a sensor network tracking air quality, pedestrian flow, energy usage, and waste collection in real time. Buildings adjust their own heating and cooling based on who's actually inside them. Trash gets monitored so trucks only roll when bins are actually full.
Interesting.
Now, is
I didn't
Hudson
know
Yards
that.
perfect?
No.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Critics call it a luxury mall for
It
billionaires. and
is a
they're
luxury
not
mall for
wrong.
billionaires.
But the tech underneath it is genuinely next level. Meanwhile, the MTA is rolling out AI-powered train
Let me
scheduling
see
across the
something
subway.
here.
Cameras and sensors track train positions and
let's
passenger modes, adjusting service
go.
on the fly. For a system that moves roughly
In terms of
3.6 million
demand,
riders
what
daily,
is our
that
demand
matters.
looking like?
If you've
I
waited
do
20
have that.
minutes for a train
We're
that was supposed
up by
to come
like
in
2
4,
million, by the way.
you know why this
We're gonna
matters.
add some
New
transportation.
York
We
is
got a
loud,
lot of work
messy,
to do
and
today.
frustrating.
Actually,
But it's quietly
I don't know
deploying
how we're gonna
more
get all of
urban
that work
tech
done
than almost
today,
any
but we're gonna
city
get it
on this
done.
continent. Tokyo's Shinjuku station moves roughly 3.5
We need more
million commuters
grain.
every single day. That's
And
more
then
than
we
the entire population of some
need
countries
more
passing through one
vegetables.
building. And somehow,
Grain and vegetables.
it works.
Alright.
trains arrive within seconds of schedule. Not minutes, seconds. The Japanese rail network runs on a level of precision that most cities can't even imagine.
What was that?
Miss your
Grain
train,
and vegetables.
another
So,
one
yeah,
pulls up
grain.
in 90 seconds. But Tokyo's real trick isn't just the trains, it's what's underneath the city. Tokyo operates a massive underground flood diversion system. Huge hidden tunnels protect the entire city from sinking during heavy typhoons. The city also leads the world in earthquake-proof engineering,
That is a
buildings
fact.
sway instead of cracking. Massive dampers on skyscraper roofs counteract seismic movement hundreds of times per minute. After the 2011 earthquake, a magnitude 9.0 event, not a single modern high-rise in Tokyo collapsed.
That's
Think about that.
insane, bro.
Robotics show up everywhere too. Hotels with robot staff, restaurants running automated kitchens, convenience stores with self-checkout systems that
Right,
actually
something
function.
like that.
You've probably seen the viral
And
clips,
then
but living it daily is different. Tokyo proves
Let's
that being advanced doesn't
go.
require looking like a sci-fi movie.
vegetable needs.
Sometimes it just
yeah.
means everything works and nothing falls apart. Seoul has one of the fastest average internet speeds on the planet. Connections so fast, they make American broadband feel like dial-up from 2003. Streaming 4K isn't a luxury here, it's the baseline. But that speed isn't
Gang,
just
gang,
for binge
gang.
watching. It's the backbone of an entire digital infrastructure that runs the city. Seoul built massive underground networks beneath its busiest
Alright,
districts.
let's do
The
something
Coex
like
Mall
that.
stretches across a huge subterranean complex with shopping, transit, libraries,
We'll pull
and even an
more
aquarium.
of the suburbs
all below
out
street level.
this way.
Why go underground? Because
Keep
Seoul
this
gets brutal
more
winters and
rural
scorching
over
summers.
here.
So they built a second
We're
city where
probably
weather
gonna
doesn't
get
matter.
rid of a
The
farm
digital
or two.
infrastructure runs
Yeah.
even deeper, though. South
Nah, we
Korea's
can keep
government
that.
services are almost
We may
entirely
get rid of
online.
this farm though.
Taxes, registrations, official documents, all
What we
handled without
could do
visiting
over
a single
here-
office. The smart
Can we
transit
lock
system
anything?
tracks every bus
Yeah,
and
we're
train
locking.
in real time,
Lock.
feeding
Historical,
data straight
historical.
to your phone.
That's the word.
You know
You have to
exactly
use
when
our
your ride
our
arrives.
terms correctly.
No guessing. No standing at a
'Cause
stop
I'm gonna be
wondering if the bus is
honest,
coming
these are
or if it's
already a little bit
gone.
too big for my
For anyone who
liking.
stared at a faded American bus schedule
So what
taped to a
I'm
pole,
probably gonna do here is
you feel it. Shenzhen was a fishing village 40 years ago. Today, it has more people than New York City. That transformation happened so fast that urban planners still
do
study it like
something
a case
like
file.
that.
The city
wrap
became the hardware
parking.
capital of the world. If you're holding a phone, laptop, or earbuds right now, there's a strong chance the parts were made here. But Shenzhen isn't just a factory floor anymore. Drone deliveries are already running across the city.
That's
Meituan,
insane. You
one
get
of China's
drone
biggest delivery
deliveries?
platforms, operates autonomous drones that drop food and packages at designated pickup points. You order lunch, and a drone flies it to a pod near your building. No human driver involved. Now here's the thing. The entire bus fleet, all 16,000
Let's go.
buses, switched to fully
Dial up
electric vehicles
from
back in 2017.
No way.
single
Seriously?
Meanwhile, most American cities are still arguing about whether
Wait,
to buy 10 electric buses for a pilot
So,
program.
question: you don't think the
The metro
traffic
system
lights
routes
that
over
use
8 million
AIs
riders daily
also?
with near perfect
Is there a
on-time
particular
performance.
algorithm you can
Trains
make
basically drive themselves.
that
Shenzhen
follow
has
a
real
particular
problems.
network depending
Surveillance
on the
concerns
time
are
of
real,
day or
and
how
housing
busy that
costs are
particular
climbing fast.
block will get?
But when it comes to speed of urban technology deployment, this city operates at a pace that makes most Western cities look frozen in time. Zurich runs trains so precisely that delays are measured in seconds, not minutes. The Swiss Federal Railways post an on-time rate above 90%, and their definition of on-time means arriving within 3 minutes of schedule. 3 minutes. In America, Amtrak considers a train on time if it's within 15 minutes of schedule. That's not even a sane sport. But Zurich's real genius is integrated mobility.
This is going to
Trains,
leave us
trams,
areas
buses,
to
ferries, and bike
do
sharing
some
all
detailing,
connect
by
through a
the way,
single
as
ticketing
well.
system. You buy one pass and it works on everything. Transfers
This
are timed
is
so
why
tightly
I
that you step
also
off a train
wish,
and onto a tram
like,
within 2
we
minutes.
can make our
No
own
standing
custom
around, no
parking, because I would
confusion.
just want to put a parking
The
spot.
city
right
also
there.
runs one of Europe's most advanced waste systems. Some districts use massive underground
It really
container
makes me
systems,
just want to use
cutting
domes.
garbage truck traffic dramatically.
I don't.
Noise drops
No.
and cleanliness
There's
goes
no
up overnight,
offline domes.
and your sidewalk
parking
doesn't
during-
reek like a
Yeesh.
dumpster every Tuesday morning. Zurich isn't flashy. You won't
No,
find robot
we would use
taxis or
that
drone
to
deliveries
detail
here,
stuff.
but
Let's
the city
detail.
works with a precision
come
that
over
makes
here
other
real quick.
places look chaotic.
I'm just gonna do
Sometimes
something.
the most advanced
a little
thing a
quick,
city
quick,
can
something,
do
something.
is just work properly. Singapore built a digital twin of the entire country. Every building, every road, every utility pipe exists as a virtual copy updating in real time.
All right.
Planners can simulate what happens when they add a tower, reroute traffic, or redesign a park.
Here.
Before breaking ground, they test it digitally. That's not a prototype, it's running right now. The supertree structures at gardens by the bay aren't just for Instagram. They collect rainwater, generate solar energy, and ventilate the conservatories below.
Right over here.
Buildings across the island must replace any greenery lost
Let's
during construction with
do-
equivalent
wait,
green
no,
space
is
on
it
walls
this?
or
Yeah.
rooftops. The country set a zero waste target and designed entire systems around reducing what goes to landfill. Their smart city master plan connects traffic, energy, housing, and healthcare into
I
one national
wish
platform. Sensors everywhere track humidity, crowd density,
No,
even
you
air
know what?
quality
I can
block
deal with
by
that.
block.
I can actually.
If a
deal
neighborhood
with
gets
that.
overcrowded, the system flags it before it becomes a problem. Singapore is tiny, about 280 square miles total, but that small size forced them to
Alright,
be ruthlessly
then do
efficient
something
with
like
every single
this.
inch.
Can I
And that
you're not gonna
efficiency
let
is
me
what
fit
puts it
that
on this
anywhere?
list.
No, come here, come here.
Tallinn, Estonia might be the most digital government on the planet.
Oh shit,
and
Shockbot,
almost
what's
nobody talks
good?
about it.
You
This
just
city
need
of roughly
you
450,000
need traffic
people
cameras that
runs
can
nearly
count the
every
amount of
government
cars on a
service
stretch of the
online.
road and a bit of high school on the
Voting,
map.
taxes, business registration,
Mm.
medical prescriptions, court filings.
Tiny
all
road
digital.
brain what?
Up until recently, you couldn't get married or divorced online.
Yo,
Now you can
Shockbot
even
be
do
Shockbotting,
that.
bro.
The only thing left is transferring physical property. Everything else, your laptop handles it. Estonia
Aye.
launched its e-residency program in 2014, letting anyone in the world start a business there without ever setting foot in the country. Over 120,000
Estonia
people
did that?
from 170 countries have signed
All
up.
right, we know where we
Wild,
starting our
the entire
business.
system runs on a secure data exchange platform called X-Road
No.
that links every government database securely.
I wish there was something
Submit a document
smaller.
to one
Do I not-
agency,
oh, wait,
and every other agency that needs it can access it instantly. No duplicate forms, no waiting in line, no faxing paperwork like it's 1997. Estonia built this partly out of necessity. Small country, limited resources, so efficiency wasn't optional. But the result is a government that runs faster and cheaper than countries 10 times its size. Your city makes you wait 6 weeks for a building permit. Tallinn processes business registrations in about 18 minutes.
That's
not a
insane.
typo. Like this video and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.
All right, that was cute. All right, now to the start of the show. My bad. I'm trying to get all my homework out the way before I zone out to music. Daddios, we are also drinking on Campo Viejo Rioja Tempranillo Vintage 2022. The Andre Mack guy from the Bon Appetit videos we be watching, he had recommended that, and I'm gonna be honest, it was a great recommendation. Alright, so we will go and find out about Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia is laid out on a grid. And you might be thinking, there you go, there's your explanation. But have you ever been lost in a city that's laid out on a grid? If you have, it's not because you're dumb. It's because a lot of cities that have grid layouts are different from each other. And with Savannah, the closer you look, the more interesting it gets. We're here. We made it to Savannah. After a lot of requests,
I don't like
I'm
that.
finally here in
I
the
don't like
south.
that. Let's still eat this one.
Eating good food, enjoying this weather.
Yes,
and
eat
quickly
that good
learning that
food.
Savannah
Eat that
is
good
a
food.
very small Savannah.
Maya!
I'm focusing
Also,
on the
pork
grid of
chops.
the city.
Let's
And I've met
go.
2 people who are going to help me tell this story.
Maya, what is
that are
good?
the perfect people for it. They've been working on a book about this for like
How are
20
you?
years
How's
now.
your week been?
So, let's get to
Hey,
it.
hey, 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 hey,
Good, how
hey.
you doing?
Also,
It's
Daddios,
good to meet you.
there is going
Doing
to
great,
be a
I love
fix
that. Little
soon
caterpillar.
for this issue, okay?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were shooting.
Ice Flake is aware
yeah,
of
it's
it.
tent
They
caterpillar
are
season in
going to
Savannah,
help
evidently.
us.
So I'm
We
Dr.
will get
Robin Williams.
modded
I chair
cities
the
back, I
Architectural History
promise.
Department at SCAD. They asked me if I'd be interested in creating a new program in architectural history at SCAD to complement art history. And I figured, well, I'll never get that opportunity.
Oh
again.
shit, do
And I've
your
been chairing
thing,
it
do your
ever
thing.
since. So
Tell
I've
the
been chair
bestie
for
I
30
said,
years.
hey.
And David Goebel was the first person I hired, and he's still here.
I'm David Goebel. I've lived in Savannah now for almost 30 years. I don't feel
I'm
like a Savannian
actually,
yet because
I'm not
I think
mad
you
at
have to have
that.
lived
That's
here for
fine.
200
Actually,
years
I think
to
that is
be
fine.
a Savannian, but
What we're going to
I feel
do
very much
here
at
to
home
just
here. It's
amplify
a
that
great
a little
town,
bit
especially
more
on a
now.
day like this.
Oh yes, I forgot.
Honestly, before
'Cause
diving
our-
deep into this
oh,
map,
yes,
I probably
dude, our
couldn't have
other mods
pointed to
still work.
Savannah on a blank map
Our
of the
offline
US.
mods?
If you look at
Because
the
this
map
is
of
an
the United
offline
States
mod.
and look at the coastline and just follow it, you'll notice
Also, you see
something
the
that I never
collision on
noticed
this is
before
not
moving
as
here, that
bad.
Savannah is the westernmost point on the East
Ice
Coast.
Flake, I need y'all to work on it, Daddy-O.
This,
I need
plus
y'all to
the
work
fact
on
that
that,
it's
bro.
placed along the southern edge of the Savannah River, which the city is named after, makes for a really good port. And this is something that Robin
It
and I
does.
saw
It makes for a
firsthand
really,
as we
really
were working
good
our way to the
port.
waterfront.
Having ships go by is one of the thrills of being down near the waterfront. And I love
Yes.
how they tower above the warehouses. Because usually
Yeah.
ports are away from the historic center of a city.
That is
but
true.
the ships have to pass in front of the historic downtown of Savannah to get to the majority of the
I
port,
love
which
his
is
look right now.
upriver
It
to
is.
the northwest.
It is a little
The
bit
thing
too
that makes
racist
Savannah
for me.
unique is that it's made up of a bunch of these little building
Like,
blocks
he
called
was
wards.
selling-
These wards are repeated over and over, but
Or
are
he's
never
at
really
auction.
the same.
You feel me?
This
But,
right
you know.
here is a ward. This is actually decorated.
I'm
And every
doing
ward through the
good.
city
I'm
has a
doing
name,
good.
but
Work
every
has been
ward
pretty
also
chill.
has a square.
There was some issue, but
And the
we
square
rectified
also has
that.
a
We
name.
got that
and
over.
most of them are named after
Last stream we
early
were
founders
loading.
of the city. So this
We
is
were
Ellis
experimenting,
Square in Decker
and
Ward.
honestly,
And the
we've been
downtown
building
consists
a
of
lot in
24
the
of
vanilla
these
city.
wards.
I'm using a
couple
light
key
mod
elements that make up a ward.
playset,
First,
so
they all
we have been
have a
able to load in
central square.
pretty
That's what
decently,
these green
like
spaces
30
are across
minutes
the map.
to like 40
Then there
minutes.
are two different kinds of blocks that surround the square.
But
First, you have the
I've
truss
built
lines,
out this
and these were
area
originally
over here
created
last
to be
stream,
some form of civic
along with these
property,
row
whether
houses
that's
here,
a library,
and then I'm going to have these
or
row
some sort of
houses come
hotel
over a
or
little bit
bakery.
over here
It
as
was used
well.
for the public
We'll
good.
probably
And
make
these
them
were
more
surrounded with
spacious, so
civic
there will
streets.
be like
Then you have
distance in
tithing
between the
lots.
row
These are called
houses,
this because
and then
they
we'll
are a
probably
group of
put
10
Imperial
lots.
Heights like over
These
here,
tithings would be divided by a lane, which was a narrower
or
road
probably
than all
even
of the other
closer,
civic
to be
streets.
honest.
The
But yeah,
logo
we've
for
just
the
been
city
vibing.
is, in fact, a Savannah ward.
We
I
came
love that
over
they use the
here.
urban
We were
plan as their
working
logo,
on this
and
side
it
here.
has all the
I still got to
positive
put in
elements,
some
the
extra
square, the
details
truss lots,
around
and
this
tithing lots,
area.
marked in green, and the negative.
But yeah,
space
that's all we've
is
been doing is
essentially
try
the
to,
streets.
But this
as
had an
much as
interesting
possible,
effect on
make
the
this
city.
vanilla
because
city
it was
look
made up
good.
of all of these blocks, you didn't really get a strong city
What-
center.
What am I
Normally, if you
missing
think
here?
of a city with a square, they put a courthouse or
Ah.
a city hall in a central square or on it. And that was the way the Spanish laid out cities.
Also,
with the
is it-
Plaza
was it your
Mayor and
allergies that was
City
messing
Hall,
up,
the
or you was
governor's
just like
palace would be
sick?
on that main square.
Also,
think of
we
Mexico
did
City.
this area here
But
with
in
the double
Savannah,
park.
The city hall.
I
which
built
is just
another
behind
like
us here,
cemetery park
is
over here.
outside the plan. It's on the waterfront.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
aligns with Bay Street,
So
but
that's
it
been a, it's
technically
like I
stands
want to call
outside
this
the
like a
plan,
monument area.
because the plan
I
didn't
should put a
allow
fence
for
around here.
A singular center.
We were starting to do that
And this is when you start
It's
to
just
get
a
the
lot of
first
work,
sense
because
of
we don't have
the
lines.
ideals behind
I don't think the
this
line
plan.
2 works that good with this actual type of
This
asset.
is called the Peter Gordon view, and it shows the city in 1734. Just
I'm
a
gonna make
year
this
after
a part
the colonists
here.
arrived.
I'm liking this
We're
so
looking
far.
south across
Something
the
is
river, and
telling
you can
me,
see the
'cause we
bluff
did
that
a
leads
park
down
cafe.
to the riverfront.
Where's
And
that
this is a
park
major
cafe
reason
at?
for
Do
why
y'all
they
remember
chose
where
this
that's at?
spot.
With any river that curves, the outer bank, the water moves fastest. So the curvature of the river
There we
cut
go. It's
into
over here.
the landscape, which is among
You know
the
what's crazy?
highest
I
points
could have
in the
that
Low
there
Country
and
south.
that there. That's not bad.
But this also shows the first
Yeah, I
four
think
wards
that's
that were
actually a
made.
vibe.
Actually, this one right here is Decker Ward. So the first 4 wards were these right here.
And maybe that's
You can
when we
also
start
see in this
looking at the
view how
city as
evenly
like
all of
our
the lots were
zones,
divided up,
like
which was
our
not
districts
by
are
accident.
wards.
Each of the colonists
Technically,
that
they
would
are.
arrive would be given one of these lots.
It was an anti-urban. This is, I think, a point that's often missed. In many ways,
Also,
it's a great
I like
city,
how
but
this
it
is
was
just not
founded
parallel.
as a kind of anti-city city. It was never meant to be big. It was certainly never meant to be an industrial or commercial city. There
What was it
seems
meant to
be
be?
a kind of
What was it meant to be?
antipathy toward commerce.
We're gonna come back on
and,
this side
it
here,
was very
but
much
I already
part of an
see
agrarian
somewhere.
ideal.
I already see where we can start cooking. We gotta go
The plan
medium
for Savannah was
density
hatched
in
in
this
London
area
in the
here.
early 1700s. And London
Honestly,
at that time
this is a
was
level
rough.
4 fish factory.
The Industrial
but
Revolution
it's not
was
even
just
doing
starting,
anything, bro.
and
It's
the
all this
population
level
was
for
skyrocketing.
what, bro?
The slums were getting overcrowded,
I
and so
think
were the debtors'
we're
prisons.
going to push the rest of this industry further
The
down
plan
this
for
way.
Savannah was James Oglethorpe's response
Because it's either I
to
keep that
seeing
that
his
way
friend be thrown
and
into one of
build
these debtor
out the
prisons
downtown
and die of
square
disease.
on this. Maybe
Oglethorpe
that's what
was
we
from
do.
the landed
And
gentry.
then make
He was
all of
a
this
member of the House of
industrial.
Commons. He went on the floor
All right,
of the
that's
House
what
of
we'll
Commons
do.
and
I think
led the
you know
charge for
we're
prison
switching the
reform.
idea.
Oglethorpe was,
Keep the farms
was an
in the
idealist.
center
He
on
formed
this side
this Georgia
here,
Trust,
and then we'll
with
get some
24
tree action
men
soon.
living in London who had this idea of founding a colony called Georgia,
You know
named
what?
after the king, that would be available for the poor. Those who would be approved could go and start a new life. Who knows what the conversations were, but part of what made it good is that
Let's do this
there
real
was
quick.
the colony in South Carolina, and then the Spanish were in Florida, and the land between, on the other side of the Savannah River, was contested. That is, the Spanish thought it was theirs, and the English thought it was theirs, and so
'cause
from
I don't
a
have Anarchy, so I
geopolitical
can't- I
standpoint,
have
it made
to buy
sense
the
for the English
tiles.
to put their mark on
That's
Savannah.
so corny,
This
bro.
specific place along the Savannah
All right,
River
I have
was
the
agreed
money.
upon
It's
with
not
the
like, let me
Yamaka
not be
people,
cheap. I
whose
would be
leader,
cheap.
Tomochichi, seemed to have a very good relationship with Oglethorpe.
All right, there we go.
Oglethorpe's vision was for this colony to be an egalitarian
like this guy's
society
name,
where
Oglethorpe?
everyone had equal status and opportunity. The trustees got together and they made a plan for what they would allow and what they wouldn't allow.
The urban poor would be
All right.
invited to make applications to come here. They would be funded by the trust, and if you were selected, you would be given passage across the Atlantic, and then you'd be given property in this new colony.
Yeesh.
But there were things that they couldn't do. They weren't
What is it
allowed
that
to
they
have
couldn't do?
lawyers, and there was prohibition, so they couldn't drink alcohol. And they also couldn't have
I want
slaves.
to move.
That actually had a two-sided explanation.
couldn't
There
have
were those
slaves.
who were against
That's actually
slavery
a
per
good
se.
thing.
There were others who said that if you're going to invite the urban poor to farm, you don't want to provide them with slaves. You want them to work.
Oh
right,
yeah,
to
you
be,
want them to work
be
so
farmers
that
and
way
not
they
have
don't get a leg
competition.
up on.
Savannah was
That
to be
makes
the
sense.
first of a
It's
series
so
of
corny,
towns
but it
in
makes
this new
sense.
colony, Georgia. And so, on January 13th of
think
1733,
here-
128 people
It's
landed
gotta
at the
be
bottom of this
cool
bluff
if I can
and
have
began
all of
the
this
experiment.
traffic.
Every time
We're
I
gonna
start
work
looking
on a
at
different
one
highway
of these
entrance
planned
as well.
cities, it becomes clear that the goal that so many people want to work
That do
towards
you
is
think
we're
about the new
all on the
updates, or
same
at least
page,
whatever you're allowed to say?
which is obviously so far from the reality of today.
So
But that's why I want
I
to tell you about
couldn't
today's
try
sponsor,
out
Ground
the
News,
last
who helps us get
patch,
a little bit more
only
on the same
because
page.
my
Ground
computer
News
is
a tool I
lacking
use to help me
memory.
be a better
I
consumer
just got
of
a
the
thumb
news.
drive
They
in
pull from over
order for me
50,000
to
sources across the world, and it's all backed
basically
up by 3
increase the
independent news
memory of my
monitoring
computer. It's gonna go
organizations.
from
They gave me
like,
the code
I think this is at
ground.news/Daniel Steiner
500,
to give you guys 40%
and then I got a 1
off their
terabyte
Vantage
hard drive
plan.
in there as
One
well.
of my favorite features of
All the way up
Ground
to
News is their
4
blind spot
terabyte as
tool,
my
which
main
shows you what's
drive,
not being reported
and then I'll be
on
able
either
to
side of the
test
political
out
spectrum.
the.
And speaking of blind spots, massive
If there's
wildfires
builds
across Georgia
to
and
beta
Florida
test or
have
whatever,
destroyed
I'll
nearly
be able to
50
do
homes
that.
and are forcing
I
evacuations.
can say,
Georgia's
and this
governor
is
has
information
declared a
that
state of
has been
emergency
shared
for 91
on the
counties
forum.
in Georgia.
They are
The
looking
story's
at
been
it.
covered by
They
185
are
outlets,
actively
with the majority of those coming
engaged
from
in
the
trying to
left and the
rectify the
center.
situation.
If you want to dive deeper,
I'm not sure
99% of
when
the
we're
sources
going
are rated rated highly factual,
that
and just
particular
6%
patch,
of coverage is from
but
independent outlets.
hopefully it's
and
soon.
if you look at how the different sides are framing this, you can see that NPR
But I'm gonna
is
be honest,
focusing on
this
the
kind of
drought
blew
that
minds. It
caused
fucked
the
up my whole
wildfires,
week,
while if
honestly.
you look at the New York Post, they focus on the
It really
smoky
did fuck up my
conditions
week.
that are a result
In
of it.
pure,
It's the same
like, in
event
all
with different
honesty.
framing, and that's exactly why it's important to have a tool like this. If you're watching this channel, it's because you like to be informed.
Aw,
and you
yes,
understand
yes,
there's nuance
yes.
behind things.
Also,
So I'm gonna
I'm
provide
glad.
this, and
All
you'll be
right,
supporting
cool.
this channel.
Yes.
So thank you to Ground
Ground
News
News.
for sponsoring
Go-
this video.
go
Let's
watch
get
them.
back to the map.
Go to
of
them,
Savannah.
get real information. But at the same time, like, I can't be doing your ads, dude.
This square right here is where they shot the whole Forrest Gump thing. The life is like a box of chocolate. Bench is right there.
Oh shit.
I mean, it's not anymore.
Oh, that's fucked
But
up.
it was.
That's actually
How
fucked
would
up.
you describe the climate?
Hot and humid. That's sort of basically it. Hot and humid from the end of May until October. Just consistently oppressive. It's the thing I like
then
least about
I want to come over
living
here.
Each of the colonists would be granted a lot from a tithing, but this also correlated to land further out.
You would choose by lottery, probably out of a bowl,
All right, there we
a
go.
number, and you would get your house lot and your garden lot, and then
Now,
your farm lot.
signature
the farm lot would be
buildings.
45 acres, so it's
What do we
around
have?
50 acres
Particle
is what
board.
you would receive. The farm lots were laid out further south beyond the town common, which was common grazing land for the use of the citizens
All
for
right,
whatever
so what
purposes
I want to
they
do
would have.
here.
Just in the
Do
first
I
few
not
years
have
of being in
anything
Georgia, the colonists
as-
added 2 more
for
wards
what?
to
I
the
guess
city.
that's considered
So now
wood,
it would
right?
comprise of these 6 wards. And it's
Alright.
likely that this was always the plan, since Johnson Square right here is slightly larger than the rest of all of the other squares in the wards. This also meant
Hold on,
that Bull
Daddy-O's.
Street, which runs right here, was now the center street of the city. This is probably the entire original plan, and the reason people think that is because of the placement of this cemetery right here. It's not in
Come on,
line with
this
the ward
way.
structure they had.
In the middle of the 18th century, under the colonial
No.
charter, they laid out 2 other wide streets, 100 feet wide, which were called West Broad Street and East Broad Street.
And joining the 2 of those together on the south edge would be South Broad Street.
Across South Broad Street was the common. But these were the parameters. These were the edges for the
Can
plan
I
initially.
do something beautiful, please?
You have streets named after Oglethorpe, and if you
I
look
don't
up
like
the
this
origins
dude's
of the
name.
grid plan,
Oglethorpe, like,
you'll pretty
gives me,
immediately
like,
find that
crazy,
he's
sinister
designated
dude.
as the creator of it. But like most history, it's not that straightforward.
Go off.
Who drew
sell
the
us.
plan is really a mystery. I think most people would like to say, I'd like to say it was James Oglethorpe himself. We assume that he at some point drew out these wards, but we don't have that drawing.
So we kind of just have to infer where these ideas came from. And it's likely that a lot of them came from a place that he and the trustees were
All
familiar
right.
with, London.
A number of
All
trustees
right,
lived
this
in
is
the West End. A
cool,
number of them
that's
lived
cool.
on St. James Square.
Keep those.
Telfair Square
We'll do
used to be
something
called St.
nice
James
here.
Square. There's no doubt they were thinking
On
about
this
the squares
side,
of London,
right
but
over
the squares
here,
of London
let's,
are kind of haphazard.
Grab
They're,
in some
there's
logging.
not this logical
Yeah, I see nothing but
orthogonal grid
trees.
that links them together. So you could say this is an organized version of that. That's a partial answer to where they got the idea, and we think that's only a partial answer. There must have been other things going on in their minds.
It's also likely that these lanes or service alleys were modeled after mews in London.
A mews was basically an alley or a lane onto which carriage houses backed, and you would have carriages and horses, and they're exactly the same scale as Savannah's lanes. I like to call them
Interesting.
the drop ceilings of downtown Savannah because they've
Interesting.
accommodated every kind of new utility over
I'm
the
in
centuries.
Miami.
sewers, electricity,
I'm
telephone
in
service,
Miami, not bro. Don't
garbage
make me send
collection,
malware. LOL.
recycling, fiber optic. They always are in the
A
lane.
goblin. Wow.
Which is why when you look at this space, you don't see wires on the main streets.
Yo, that's
I
Shockbot.
also
You
just
are
wanna point
actually
out that
going
this map
off. You're
says
scaring me
Strand
sometimes.
right here,
Like,
which is
just
something that
admit
you might
that
remember
you
if you
are.
saw
You know what
my
I'm saying?
video I did on
Shockbot.
London.
Just admit it.
So that term strand, obviously in London, there's a street
Alright.
called the Strand. And it
Over
basically
here, what I
means a
think I
beach.
want to do.
a waterfront. And so this wide open green space here, this is pretty much the waterfront
Take one of
in the East End.
these.
And you look at this generous amount of green space and you think, well, why didn't they develop it? But throughout the city's history, it's really amazing to think how they were committed to green space. Even though they had all those squares, they preserved this green space. And in fact, it's one of the early alleys of trees in America.
But the
Alleys of
amazing thing
trees,
to
like
me,
a
though, is that the
parkway,
idea
yes.
was noble,
No,
and
here,
it has so much
here,
to commend it. But
there.
it was
All right.
also a crazy
Now
idea.
what I'm going to
and
do
it was,
is
at
grab
the
some
end of the day,
zoning.
it was a terrible idea.
It didn't take long for this idea of a utopic society to begin to fall apart. And there's a lot of reasons for that.
Then-
One was there was no real official governor of Savannah. The time
Something
to get
like
news
that,
back and
and
forth between the
then
rest of the trustees
what we
in
wanna do
London
is the particle
and to
board
the town of
factory.
Savannah was so long that they were really on their own for a lot of it. And there's actually a spot here. You can see this tiny little cemetery,
What
this
about
gray
here?
mark
Nah,
that shows
that
a
won't work.
cemetery. And this is an example
Honestly,
of that
this could
delay
work,
in
yeah.
time.
Months after Oglethorpe
right,
comes,
keep
there's a
that just like
boatload
that.
of
That's
Sephardic Jews
phenomenal.
who show up, say hello. You know, we'd like to be part of the colony.
Shockbot
This
is a
not in
vibe
the
and knows.
charter.
Yeah, he does. He
Oglethorpe
does.
writes a
He
letter
has.
back to
He has the
trustees
vibe.
basically saying, "What should
Oh
I
my
do?
God! Wait, my bad, mommy.
should I allow
No
them to
malware,
stay?
please. Wait,
In the
damn,
meantime,
Shockbot, you got a
the
little,
only
you got a
medical
little
doctor
twink in your voice
in
now.
the
Okay,
colony had died.
you got
There
a
was
little.
doctor
Let me
amongst
find
the
out.
Jews. And Oglethorpe said, before he got the letter back, he said, "Okay, you're in." And so we have
Yo,
a
that
very
is crazy.
old
Honestly, I
colonial
think
era
Shock
Jewish
is in
community.
here,
Many of
and
them
he's
will
just
say,
typing.
trace their roots back to that group.
He has to be
I'm very
typing.
proud of it.
Yo,
But
Shock.
it goes to that decision.
Did you just write that for
the
Shockbot?
trustees then sent the letter and said, no, they can't stay. But it was too late.
Alright,
But
I think we'll
ultimately,
keep
it
that
turned
as
out that starting
is.
an egalitarian colony was
And
much harder
then
than the
let's
colonists
do.
had
Let's
anticipated.
get a
If
parking
you were to
right up
take
here.
whatever our urban poor are today and say, come on over here and I'll give you some farm implements and you're now a farmer, go for it. You know, if it happened to me, I wouldn't last for a week or so. And actually, that's kind of what happened. Those who had moved here and who were unsuccessfully farming, who very soon, within just a couple of years, began to scream and say, we can't do this. They said it's too hot, the soil's
Cool.
terrible, which was true.
All right, so
they
we
also
have
said,
some
"And we need
industry
slaves."
back there. We're
And,
cooking.
you know, look over there. They're doing it because they have the help of enslaved
Let's
people who can do that work for them.
continue to
And so they
build
demanded
out-
that slavery be made legal. here.
We do
And,
need a
it
bus
ultimately
station,
was.
bro.
It
We
was,
need a lot
by
right
1750.
now.
it
So,
was,
in
they
terms of
reversed that.
transportation,
They did a complete
don't
180
have
on
a
this
lot.
because later Savannah would become home to
really
the largest
don't have
ever
a lot
slave
in
auction
transportation.
and would be part of the
I
Confederacy
think we just have a
during the
cab
Civil
stand,
War.
and then that's
So this plan
really
for the
it.
colony that the
Me-
trustees had created really fell apart. Oglethorpe went back to London and he went on with his life. For most of the 1700s,
Yeah.
the city
No, we
stayed
don't-
just these 6 wards.
Yeah, we
There
have
was
a cab
Revolutionary
stand, and
War
that's it.
battle that took place here, so you can see different fortifications around
Whoa!
the city over time. But ultimately, the city expanded with the wards that had been established by Oglethorpe. By 1790, the population of Savannah had grown to 2,500 people. The Revolutionary War had just ended.
Daddios, we're doing
and within
education,
just 10 miles
sipping
of the
on
city,
a
Eli
Campo
Whitney had
Viejo.
created the cotton gin.
We've
Temporary.
sent the
Wait,
English
how do I
packing,
pronounce this again?
and the colony of Georgia has become the
It's a
state of Georgia,
Rioja, so it's
and the
Campo
city of Savannah has
Viejo,
become a
Rioja,
municipality, and in the
Tempranillo.
first year,
Tempranillo.
they decided that they were going to
Campanillo.
sell property on the town common,
Is it TRAM?
which they did not have the right to do, by the way, because the
Oh,
council didn't own it, but the property owners held it in common.
Yeah,
The
so
common's
Campo
really
Viejo,
important to the
Rioja.
plan story because
the-
the common provided the land
may
that
be
would be
Rio.
used
I was
to
just saying
expand
Rioja.
the plan to build more wards.
Well, in
Incrementally, then
why?
from 1790 until 1854,
Is it Portuguese
when
or
it's pretty
Spanish?
well finished, the town plan grows, and it grows by following the same pattern that Oglethorpe had set up.
The wards on either side of this original plan were compressed down to fit within the boundaries created by East and West Broad Street.
You
Even though the
had to
wards were
threaten him
condensed,
in order
they
for him
still
to be on.
retained all
You
the
know what?
basic elements of the
Sometimes
You can quickly see that
some
the
creatures,
squares at their center
like
were
Shockbot,
compressed,
just
but look
they
closely
only
at the
know
tidal
violence,
loss here.
and
It's
that's what
reduced
just
down
needed to
to a
happen.
group of 8. They squeezed the
Spain.
square,
Alright, so it's
shortened the tithings,
Rio.
but left the truss lots in the streets.
If it was
in their
Portugal, it
normal
would have been Rio
proportions.
John.
So think of it like a recipe. You might
All right.
alter the amount of salt
Over
or the amount
here.
of sugar, but you can't eliminate it.
Do we have a
It's
long
impressive
parking
not
that
just
will
that
work here?
Oglethorpe's
I want to
ward
fill in this
system
area.
worked and was so flexible, but that his successors continued to add wards to the city, even though they didn't quite fit in line with what he had intended.
You read about the genius of James Oglethorpe, who created a plan that was modular and thus could be replicated, which is true that it could be replicated, but I don't think that was the genius of James Oglethorpe, because he wanted everyone to be a farmer. If you kept adding more house lots and then more farm lots, you would be halfway to Atlanta by the time you finished building farm lots. So it's not a sustainable idea for the kind of vision, the agrarian, egalitarian vision that the city was founded for.
But just
Ooh,
as they
a pork
began
chop does
expanding
sound
the city
really,
in
really
the
good.
1790s, a fire
I've
started
had
at
a
a
pork
bakery
chop
in
in
Ellis
so
Square,
long. Oh
and the
my
fire
God,
spread
bro.
across the majority of the city.
And lamentably, that's one reason why there are very few 18th century buildings in the city. There are several buildings that will date back to even the 1760s, but there's nothing from the, no building from the
There we go. So
trustee
you gotta
era,
love an oak tree.
and very few that
That's
are
been
colonial.
everybody's
And so the
secret
map records
forever.
the fire district, but it also inadvertently documented the development of the plan in a unique moment. It's the only map that shows it like that. And then in 1799,
You know what?
they
I
added a
also,
second row
if
of
I was to
wards,
do this,
and
I
those wards were
need
Liberty, Columbia, and Green.
the extra pathways. Like
This
I
map
need the
shows
invisible
the planned
networks.
extensions of the wards and how they decided to navigate around the cemetery. They ended up basically just cutting these two wards in half.
All right.
Building south across
This is
Broad Street
cool.
actually
That's
turned it
cool.
into
That's
what is now
cool.
Oglethorpe Avenue. And it was wider than the rest
We
of
need
the
a bus
streets in the
station.
plan.
One theory for why this median was created was
We need
to
a
straddle,
place to bus
basically,
depot, and
the
we need a
site
bus
of that
station.
Jewish cemetery.
And to be
then the
honest,
southern edge of the
a
street
lot.
was defined by the
I'm
edge of
thinking
the
about
colonial
repurposing
cemetery.
this
The
area
cemetery
over
here.
here.
And the other cemetery helped
This area
configure
over
this
here especially,
145th
yeah.
wide street.
And it's had
Level
an effect on
4.
something that I really noticed in Savannah. This happens in other places, but in Savannah especially, you could see how this urban layout really informed
What we're gonna
the
do is
architecture.
replace
After wards were
that.
built across Broad Street, suddenly it wasn't the
Because
edge
I'm
of
gonna
town.
just delete
now
that.
It was
That's gonna be a
desired
goner, bro.
avenue
That's
to live on.
gone.
So the townhomes you're looking at are among the grandest townhomes on the street. They're very early. They're from the 1820s and 30s. And in fact, the farther pair is almost identical to townhomes on Washington Square Park in New York City.
All right.
But these ones are
Yes.
older. And they
It's not
reflect
better.
just
It's
how
not better.
high
It's not
style
better.
and
Stop.
grand was
Stop.
living on this avenue.
Why are you being a bitch?
But
I don't
a
like
fun
that. You're
point
being
of comparison
really,
is
you're being
a
an
house
asshole.
that
No New
predates
York
this
slander.
avenue. So this
No
little
New York
white
slander
house here,
at all.
the Christian Camphor Cottage, was built at a time when this was just the common out here. In fact, it's one of the very few pre-revolutionary
Right.
buildings in downtown Savannah. It's from
That-
about 1760, and then raised on a Savannah gray brick
Oh, Wolf,
foundation
do your thing.
in the
Yeah.
1870s.
I can't play. So
One other
anytime
thing you can
I've
see on
loaded
this
up a
map is
modded
that
city,
on
my
either side of
decals
the
are not
Savannah
working.
Plan were really low-lying areas
I don't
that
know
they were
what's
using
going
to
on
farm
with that.
less. And it's largely why it grew south rather than east
But
and
currently
west.
Brooklyn is messed
This
up
area
because I
just
can't get
west
to
of the
all my
Savannah Plan
decals.
is known as the Yamacraw Village, and it got this name because during the trustee era, that's where the Yamacraw
I
people lived.
think
But
what
later it
I'm
became
going to
more
do
industrial
is
because
come
of its
over here,
proximity to the
grab
port and
that,
the railroad,
grab
and
some
later became a
trees.
segregated neighborhood. But this area is outside of the Savannah Plan.
When they were laying out a new row of wards, starting with the third row, they would start at the west end and march
All right.
eastward. And then once they completed the third row, they started laying out this fourth row. A curious thing happened though. South of Liberty Street, the common squeezes in. So it's not the full width from East Broad to West Broad. And then as the city developed southward, they were determined to fit the Savannah Plan into
All
the
right,
available
let's
space.
see what that looks
And
like.
so the truss lot
That's
is
gonna
a
be
minuscule
fine.
60 by 60
There's some
feet.
factory
Big
over
enough basically
here.
for one house.
Now, if I
So
make
Pulaski
historical,
Ward
it should still
and
level
Chatham
up,
Ward
right?
To the south
Let's
are
historical
these two
this.
truncated wards, and then you can see it
Historical, historical,
They continued to build these wards in this boundary basically all the way up until the Civil War. It was right before then that Forsyth Park was donated to the city by one of the previous mayors and turned into a park that marked the end of the Savannah plan.
Here we go, yes.
And all of the blocks and streets south of here are the same repeating dimensions.
Oh, that's gonna be 2? Did I want to? I didn't want to.
The ward system proved to be a really powerful and flexible way to build a city.
Let's do this again.
That
okay.
provided a lot of green and public space, but it also adapted incredibly well to various circumstances.
Is there anybody in this building? Level 5.
Cohesive.
The plan as a diagram
it's cooking.
is very legible,
It's
but
actually
as a lived
cooking. And then what's
experience,
this?
the wards, ironically, are almost invisible.
The sidewalks are lined up
No,
with
keep
sidewalks
that. I like
go
the
through the
aesthetic of
squares.
that.
So it's a straight shot.
All right.
I think we can probably see it perfectly behind you.
Yeah.
Come back over
absolutely.
here. What is this? We are having.
I always feel empowered when I
What do you
cross
need?
these streets.
Stone. I
But
do.
look
Can
at the
I
drivers.
start making some stone?
I do.
Just make sure that they saw you.
They're on the same page. Yeah.
Do I want to make stone? How is that looking?
Make
Actually,
it really difficult. To
what
move
is my
around in a
natural
car.
resources?
Not Savannah. It's a very tightly woven grid. So if you have a bottleneck on one street, you just turn a corner and go on another street.
Yeah.
And it's also
It's
impressive
looking like
how well
maybe
it's been
we do some
preserved,
stone
even though
lodging
it
around
hasn't
here.
been perfectly preserved. In fact, there are 2 squares right here that are known as the lost squares.
So
especially
the
clear
Brooklyn
on
Bill
satellite
has
images that
both
these were
the
lost to
local
urban
version
renewal
of
projects that widened
static
the
noise
roads, brought in
and
the freeway,
the PDX
and
mods.
created parking lots. But most of the
Some of them
freeways
are
were
showing
placed
up.
on those
I don't know.
low-lying areas
Gaga's
that we
wasn't
saw
showing
on the
up,
earlier map.
but it was
But
in my
even with
playset.
that,
So
Oglethorpe's
the issue I've been
original
having is
concept
there's some
still
stuff in my
shapes the city.
playset
People recognize
that are
they've
not
got
showing
something
even
special
after
here
I
and,
disable and
tend to want to
re-download
care
again.
for it, to
I'm not
nurture
sure
it,
what
to
the
be careful
reasoning
about,
is for that.
tearing
though.
down one building, putting up
Alright, let's
another,
actually
planting
delete this
trees,
here.
features of the city that are part of the complexities of making an urban place
Hey, yes,
the place that it is.
yes.
There is no city identical to Savannah, which begs the question, if it is such a celebrated
Let's
plan, why aren't there
do
imitations?
something like this.
And I think it's, about 50% of the surface area is public realm. I think most cities aren't willing to give up half of their land for the civic good.
Don't say that, dude. What if you're wrong?
If you want to learn more about Savannah, I'm putting some of the resources in the description below, along with Robin's own YouTube channel called Urban Traces.
Oh, shit.
And when their book comes out this fall, I'm going to put the link to David and Robin's book below. If you want to support me, I also have my Patreon down there and the Ground News link. But if you want to just like this video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for supporting me, and I'll see you in another video super soon. Peace.
Peace. I miss your videos, Daniel. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed your vacation. All right. The hidden differences between U.S. and Canadian urbanism. Okay, go off. Let's see what Canada has for us.
This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Canada and the United States.
Shock, if for shits and giggles you want me to load that up, I would load it up just for shits and giggles.
US city in a TV
Plus,
show
Wolf
or a movie
misses
is actually Vancouver. But there are a lot more differences.
I know Wolf
under
misses
the
the
hood
loading
than most
screen.
People, even Canadians, realize. In this video, I want to explain how US and Canadian cities actually compare. The similarities, from a global perspective, and the differences that aren't always obvious. Differences in density, transit, and even governance.
Oh god, I need a bus station, a bus depot. So wait, in order to get the compact
car-centric
bus
development after
depot,
World
I
War
need
II.
a bus
What
depot,
distinguishes
I need
the
a
US
bus
and
stop,
Canada
and I need
from
a bus
much of
station.
Europe is very large
That's
post-war
so
population
fucking
booms.
stupid.
The UK population has grown by 40% since 1950. The US and Canada have doubled or tripled. Australia and New Zealand are in the same boat. So we don't just have post-war car-centric development. Most neighborhoods were built after the war. The US and Canada share a culture of driving and a tolerance for long distances. When I was a kid, my family would sometimes drive to Florida from Canada. 30 hours each way.
Actually
That's like
fucking
driving from Berlin
psychopathic.
to Lisbon, which I think no European would ever do.
Yeah,
Obviously, that's an occasional
that's
vacation,
insane.
not a commute. But even for more routine travel, we have a higher tolerance for distance and time in a car than most other countries, I think.
We're gonna
I
delete
assume
this one
Australia
as
is
well.
similar. And even as an urbanist who despises driving in cities, I still kind of have a soft spot for road trips. Canada is joined at the hip to the US auto manufacturing sector. We have similar regulations and we buy similar cars. There are some differences. Full-sized SUVs aren't as common in Canada, but large pickup trucks are just as common here as in the US, if not more. Overall, our vehicles are distinctly larger and less fuel efficient than what you'd find in Europe or Asia.
Really?
Although with America's stated goal of dismantling the Canadian auto industry,
The president and his commerce secretary, they seem very clear at this moment in time. They believe that vehicle assembly has to happen in the United States, not in Canada.
we're gradually opening up our market to things like Chinese EVs, and hopefully changing more regulations. The
No,
US and
I don't
Canada,
like the way this is
especially
looking.
English Canada, share a cultural fixation on single-family detached homes. It's written into our zoning codes as the default proper type of housing that needs to be protected from density. People actually talk as if apartments don't really count as homes.
They do.
Australia and New Zealand are similar, but it's kind of weird globally. In Korea, it's totally normal to live in a high-rise apartment.
Yep.
A mid-rise in Spain. Row houses in the Netherlands. Semi-detached or
Yeesh.
terraced
Well,
homes in the
Godspeed
UK.
on that,
The
heavy
US
feet.
and Canada both have very
Whoa,
large
you
roads,
and your
large arterials in the
you and your
suburbs
brother
and
have
most
heavy feet,
downtowns,
bro.
large highways in bigger cities, and even large residential streets, which is particularly weird compared to much of Europe or Asia. Compare this street on the edge of suburban Berlin.
Don't worry,
to
we
this
have
one
a
on the
whole
edge
bottle of
suburban
Merlot
Montreal.
waiting for us.
Residential streets in Tokyo or Taipei
After
would
this,
give the average
Daddy-o,
Canadian or
um,
American a heart attack.
Do we go
Not being
Afro
allowed to
House
park your
or
car
do
on a
we
street
go
is
Divorce
basically
Dad
considered a
Rock?
violation of human rights here. So the U.S. and Canada are both post-war
Also,
suburban
Maya,
countries
when you're
with a
ready
culture
to
of driving, lots
load
of
that
large
blunt, let
vehicles,
us know. Let us
single-family
know.
homes, and distinctly
Also,
larger
I didn't
streets
even
than
go
you'd
to my
find in
YouTube
most
stream.
of Europe or Asia.
I usually
The
go to
rest
my
of the
YouTube
video is
stream
going to
on
cover
my
the differences
tablet.
between the two countries.
To everybody on YouTube, thank y'all for joining in. Thank you for doing
We're both
homework with
suburban
me. This is
countries,
what
but
we
the
are doing
reality
today.
is that American suburbia is more
Oh,
extreme.
alright.
Lower
This-
densities, less transit service, and less pedestrian infrastructure.
right
On
there.
average, at least.
Is
There
the
are
ashtray
always
right there,
exceptions.
too?
Here's the edge of suburban Calgary, a Canadian city people associate with sprawl. It's mostly single-family homes, surrounded by large arterials and highways.
Alright,
No
camera
real
has to
transit,
go off
but
real
the
quick,
homes are pretty
Daddios.
compact.
We will
There are
continue
multi-use
building,
pathways and roundabouts.
and I will
There are
actually
apartments, stores,
do
and schools within
our
the
first
neighborhood.
couple of bus
I'd
lines.
show you the edge of suburban Atlanta, but it doesn't really have an edge. So here's a similar location, 20 kilometers southeast of downtown. It's on what I would call
Her
a
population
rural
was
road
about
with
300,000
inconsistent sidewalks.
in 1950.
On one
Today
side,
it's over 2
single-family
mil.
homes that
I
are
know what
less
this video
dense
is
than
talking about.
Calgary.
It's like,
On
oh,
the other side,
interessante.
single-family homes that are much less dense. The schools are much bigger and more car-oriented compared to Calgary. And Atlanta's suburbs continue on for another 30 or 40 kilometers
Alright.
with lower and lower densities. That Calgary neighborhood
We
is
should be
still
all
car
good
first.
on that.
It's not like the transit-oriented suburbs
I
you'd
think
find
the
in much
bus
of Europe or Asia.
station-
But it's also not the extreme semi-rural pattern of a lot of U.S. suburbs and exurbs. Here's the density map of Atlanta on the left
Maybe I put
versus
the firehouse
Calgary on
here
the
and the
right.
bus
Calgary
station
has a
here.
much
No,
sharper
that's so
boundary with the
close.
countryside, while Atlanta just fades into lower and lower densities. You can see the same thing
Where
in
would I put a bus
Chicago on the
station?
left versus
Hmm.
Toronto. Chicago has a dense core, but sprawls out to lower and lower densities. Same thing with Boston versus Montreal. Although I should mention that suburbs in the US West, especially California, tend to be a bit more like Canada. Oh, and more extreme suburbia really shows up in traffic fatality numbers. In 2024, the city of
I
Calgary
don't
had
know.
2.2
This-
traffic deaths
this
per
is looking
100,000
real
people.
bus-like.
That number was 11 per 100,000. In the 5 core counties of Metro Atlanta,
maybe
that's 5 times higher. That's crazy.
we do this whole area over, put a
The
bus
US
station
has
here.
sprawlier suburbs, but arguably higher highs in its urban areas. Canada
They
actually
come
had
down
a
this
bigger
way,
post-war
loop around
population
that
boom.
way.
So the U.S. has a bigger
Hmm.
inheritance of pre-war urban fabric, density, architecture, and transit infrastructure. They had more big cities earlier, particularly in the Northeast, Midwest,
Yes,
and
yes.
California. Think Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston, D.C., and San Francisco.
You
And to a
ain't gonna
lesser
say-
extent, some
wait
other
the
places
fuck
like
a second.
Baltimore.
We're
Those
not doing
cities
this.
just feel
We're not doing this. Why are you being a dick? Why are you being a dick? If you're gonna say Northeast, you're gonna say Philadelphia. You're gonna say Boston. Bitch. Let's do this. Let's do this one more time. Let's do this one more time. Mind you, we'll do this one more time.
Northeast, Midwest, and California. Think Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston, D.C., and San Francisco. And to a lesser extent, some other places like Baltimore. Those cities just feel dense, urban, and city-like in their central neighborhoods.
Are you a fucking idiot? So you're not going to mention New York City. You're not going to mention a distinction between 5 fucking different boroughs with their own distinct central neighborhoods, feeling dense, urban, and city-like. What the even Queens with a different fucking town. You're being a dick. You're being a dick. You're such a fucking dick. Go off. Go off. Go.
With
Go
abundant row houses and boxy apartments, in a way that's harder to find in Canada. Montreal
It
fits
may be
the
harder
bill.
to find in
Quebec
Canada.
City has pockets, but
Nobody's
English
denying
Canadian
that.
cities like Toronto or Vancouver,
He's talking about
not to
Canadian.
mention Calgary or Ottawa, start to feel pretty suburban,
But then he
pretty
said some
fast
shit about-
outside of downtown.
I know,
because they
Canada.
grew
I
as
just like
cities
saying
later than
Canadian.
these U.S. comparisons, and because so much of their
This
most
is like,
recent
aha,
growth
you're
has been
stupid,
in a
you're
handful
wrong.
of clusters. Then there's New York City, which is in
Oh.
a league of its own. On
Oh,
its
it took you
New
long
York
enough.
Has more dense neighborhoods, also transit ridership, than all Canadian cities combined. So English
Eesh.
Canadian cities
That's what
are
I'm
in a
talking
funny middle
about.
ground, where they feel very suburban, but also
Do
their
I want to
suburbia
ruin
isn't
that
as
office
extreme.
area here?
Canada doesn't have nearly as many urban highways as the U.S.
Oh my God,
Federal
I'm in a
money funded a
kerfuffle.
highway system down there that didn't just connect cities. It plowed through them. Downtowns like Kansas City, L.A., and Dallas are encircled by
I
large
could
highways
put a
in a way
bus
that's
station
kind of unique
here,
and shocking to people
then
from
that
other
way-
countries.
yeah.
My city, Montreal, is
Outside
actually on the
network
higher end of urban
here,
highways by Canadian
but
standards.
that's like in a sub.
But on
it's in the
average,
burbs.
Canada just didn't go as far as the U.S. in demolishing cities for these. That's
I
because
don't
of
know how I
less
like
federal
I don't like-
funding
think
and
I like this
encouragement,
area for a bus
and some
station.
forward-thinking politicians and activists.
Oh, I could put
Quebec
one here
City
then.
and Tulsa,
This is more
Oklahoma
urban.
have a
Yeah,
similar
all right,
urban area
this is where we go
population.
at, yeah.
But Tulsa's downtown is choked by highways, while Quebec City has 2 that approach downtown but don't quite reach it. Vancouver has no highways close to downtown. Neither do Calgary,
How big
Edmonton,
is
or
that bus
Winnipeg.
train?
Canadian transit systems are underbuilt with less coverage than the more extensive U.S. systems. Even setting aside the enormous
What
New
is
York
this?
subway because that
Small
city
city
is
bus
on a
station.
completely different scale,
Can you?
the Chicago
can you,
L,
I need to
DC
see.
Metro, and BART in San Francisco are all multiple times larger than the Toronto subway, Montreal Metro, and Vancouver SkyTrain. Part of it is that the U.S. started building rapid transit decades earlier, multiple systems before 1910, and then some later systems in the 70s were built big with federal money. Canada's first
Yes.
subways were in the 50s and 60s, and did not initially have federal funding. Federal money
that's
falling
fucked up.
through
How-
forced Toronto
Yeah, I
to
need the
shrink the
funding.
size of its initial subway plan. The Montreal Metro was, at first, fully funded by the city. Obviously, lots of U.S. cities have even less rapid
Is that
transit,
updates happening?
but they do have highways. Canadian cities
That is
are in a kind
crazy,
of limbo.
the amount of updates
They
that
don't
was just
have
happening.
U.S.-style highway networks, but they also don't have the extensive metro, tram, and suburban rail networks that you find in much of Europe. Like in Stockholm. When you consider population, Vancouver's SkyTrain isn't doing as badly as Toronto or Montreal. Although, when you have nearly 0 highways in city limits, we might reasonably expect you to knock it out of the park in your transit network.
That is
With
true.
some big projects underway, Toronto and Montreal are both catching
That's
up.
kind of
But
crazy.
NIMBYism
Oh, why
and
does
political
I'm
meddling
not
in
mad that it
Montreal
sinks.
mean the REM will be a
I
one-trick
am
pony.
and
And
how do I feel
Toronto is
about
spending
this?
a lot of money on light rail
Hold
that
on,
doesn't
let's
necessarily
X this real
provide
quick.
subway-level service.
Thank you, love.
Despite our underbuilt
Hold on.
rail transit,
This is
Canadians
actually
ride
bothering me.
transit
How-
much more
how
than
would I fix
Americans.
this?
The New York City subway is in a league of its own with
Yes,
7
New
million
York City
riders
good.
a day.
Everything
but
else bad,
Toronto
yes.
and Montreal see about 1 million. That's double or triple what you'd find for subways in Chicago, D.C., Boston, and Philadelphia, despite the first 2 of those being much longer. Canadians also ride their light rail and their buses at higher rates. The C train
Oh.
in Calgary is the most used light rail system across the US and Canada. Here are the top 15 metro areas for transit commuting across the US and Canada pre-COVID. A surprising number are Canadian cities. Many don't even have subways. Some of them don't even have light rail.
Yeah, they
there
didn't
are a
love
bunch
us.
of reasons for Canadian
They
transit
do,
ridership.
yes.
For all
Maya.
our housing failures, many Canadian cities
Which
do
I
a
gotta-
decent
oh,
job
man,
of
that reminds me.
densifying
I
near
have work to
transit.
do.
Canadian cities tend to run their buses and trains more frequently. Buses in Toronto and Vancouver are way more useful than in a lot
Here
of
we
other
go.
cities.
That's what I was looking
Canadian
for.
cities have less job sprawl. More people are commuting to transit-accessible locations like downtown, as opposed to suburban office parks. It's not at European levels, but gasoline does cost more in Canada, which we know helps transit ridership. On intercity rail, Canada and the US actually have similar ridership numbers per capita, but the distribution of ridership and service is very different. Canada has one functional route that accounts for 94% of countrywide ridership. It's the Quebec City to Windsor corridor with
No, that actually
not
looks really bad.
amazing 8
I thought
trains
that was
per day in its
underground.
busiest
Why is that
section.
not underground?
It's more comfortable than the bus,
I
but can't
wanna
really compete with
underground,
flying on time.
underground.
The advantage it has is that one corridor covers 9 of the 15 biggest metro areas in Canada. Outside
Alright.
of that, intercity passenger rail is almost irrelevant in Canada at the moment. Unless you like taking the train for the sake of it, or you enjoy
There you
getting
go.
stuck behind freight. But you can do that on the corridor too.
That's
the top
crazy.
route in the US, the Northeast Corridor, has much better service. It's faster
Evil
and
Doctor,
much more
do you
frequent,
have
with
a
50 or
video
more
on
trains
this?
per
We're
day
doing
between
homework today,
Philadelphia
so
and New
shoot
York.
that over.
At the same time, is not as dominant within the US network, at
Alright,
about 50%
so
of total ridership.
I'm fine with
the US
this
has multiple
somewhat.
other corridors that are kind of like
Come over
Canada's
here.
main
Give me
route.
something. I need
Not
something.
amazing, but often usable. For example, in California, the Pacific Northwest, and around Chicago. Urban decline, and cities being
Oh.
associated with crime and poverty
Hold on, if I
has
go
been a much
here-
bigger phenomenon in the US than Canada.
All right,
Mass
you know what else we
suburbanization
need?
and white flight led to a hollowing out
Is
of
it
a lot
extended
of US
tooltips?
cities. Canada
I
had a
don't think I
period
could
of
play this
suburbanization
without
too.
extended
You
tooltips.
could buy a house
How
in
do I
Toronto
make this a
for
key
pretty
wall?
cheap in the 70s, but it wasn't as extreme or as racially charged. And the idea of desirable suburbs in disadvantaged cities doesn't really exist in the
Hold
public
on.
consciousness in
How
Canada
do I
so
make
much.
this-
No city in Canada that I'm aware of has the same vacant lot and abandoned home topography that you find in parts of Detroit and Chicago.
I don't know how I feel.
Canadians
Stop
are more
talking
likely
shit.
to see the
Stop
suburbs as a
being mean,
place you
sir.
go for cheaper housing or slower lifestyles, rather than escaping crime and poverty. That's not to say we don't have
Aloha.
those things, but crime rates are lower.
First
and
off,
there's less
thank
of an
you
association
for your
with the
first time
quote-unquote
chat. Was
inner
good,
city,
Daddy-O.
a term
Second,
that isn't used so much
how
in
many
Canada.
mods do you have?
Lots of places in the US.
Also, I appreciate the follow.
But then
I'm
you
off
get
camera
kind of
right
the
now because I'm
whiplash
smoking a
of
blunt.
gentrification. As previously poor and disadvantaged
Oh wait, the
areas
missus is gonna do
become
bubbles. I
desirable
gotta put the
again.
camera back on. We get
The US is more of a
bubbles.
phenomenon of college towns and college town urbanism.
Sorry.
College towns are smaller cities that are defined by their university presence and usually have better walkability, density,
No.
and transit than you'd otherwise expect.
Like seriously,
For example, Ithaca,
above
New
300 or
York,
below
Ann
300,
Arbor,
and I
Michigan,
can give you a
Yes!
time
Massachusetts.
frame. More wine,
Canada has some
please.
student-heavy smaller cities like Halifax and Kingston
More
that probably
wine.
count. But most of our major universities are located in bigger centers that don't feel as defined.
So,
by them.
Aloha,
The U.S. is a lot
I
more
have
large or high-profile
several different play
universities in
sets.
smaller cities.
This play set we're
including
watching
some
right
that are
now
literally
is
named
technically
for being
vanilla.
college towns.
Don't believe the hype.
College
This is mostly a
Station,
vanilla
Texas,
play set.
State College, Pennsylvania.
But my play set of 300 mods takes about
Canada
an
has more
hour
unified
and a half
local
to load.
governance than the U.S., which is much more fragmented. In 2007, Greater Toronto had 5 municipalities per million people, compared to 50 in Greater Chicago. Philadelphia and Detroit had 80 separate towns and cities per million people. Partly this comes from municipal
All right, so
mergers that
there's
happened all
something
over
I
Canada
don't.
around the
How
year
do I
2000.
make this happen?
But the difference is older than
I-
that. This means that the core
Oh,
municipality
do I replace
usually
it? I
covers
think I
more of the
replace
metro
it.
area in
So wait a
Canada than the
second. Come over
U.S.,
here. Come over
including
here.
suburbs and sometimes rural
Come over
land.
here.
That Calgary suburb that I mentioned at the beginning,
No, it doesn't
that's
work
still
that
in
way.
the city of Calgary.
How do
While
I-
those Atlanta
Is it- and
suburbs
it's
were in
not
the
repair services,
unincorporated
right?
communities of Ellenwood
That's
and
a
Rex,
sound barrier,
which
lighting.
maybe helps explain the more haphazard rural-style development of many American suburbs.
How do
in
I
the
do a
US,
cut and fill
homeowner
road? Oh my
associations are
god.
effectively
Great,
another
come
level
out
of
with your
government
series.
that collects
I
fees,
don't know how to
provides
play this.
services, and even enforces rules. They're very common in some states like California, Colorado, and Florida. In Canada, this kind of suburban
still
HOA is much more rare. They seem to be a bit more present in Alberta, But in most of the country, the closest thing
They
you'll
do.
find to
I'm
a
so
homeowners
sorry about
association
that.
is a condo board.
One of my
Similarly, gated
greatest
communities are very common in
supporters
parts of the
gifted
US,
subs
but
earlier.
unless you count condos, they're very
Sorry
rare
that you
in
weren't
Canada.
included in the bunch, Daddy-O.
Some of the other points get at this, but it's important.
But yeah,
not
what
to
I was
single
saying
out.
was, if
The
you
US
have
is
more
just a
than
much bigger
300
country with more
mods,
variation.
you're probably going to be
Variation in
loading for
culture,
about an
climate,
hour and
economy,
45
and
minutes.
urbanism. New York City is
8
way more
ads?
different
For
to
what?
Houston than Toronto is to
Also,
Calgary.
Evil Doctor
Quebec
came
is
up with
obviously
some homework.
different from English Canada in a lot of
Thank
ways.
you, Evil
Higher
Doctor.
rates of renting, arguably more of a culture of public space, subways, and rubber tires. But Montreal and Quebec
I
City
am
also
allowed to vape,
basically
though, 'cause
fit into the Canadian
I don't know
pattern
what
for
kind of
transit
vape it is.
ridership, highway
But now,
building,
on a
urban
serious
density,
note,
and
how
more
do I
unified
let me
municipal
see something.
governance, with amalgamations in the early 2000s like nearby Ontario. It's fair to say that if you're born into a random city in Canada, you're probably
Wait,
going to have
so
a better
how do I
experience as
get
far
this
as
to
transit and
be-
walkability are concerned compared to a random city
I don't
in
like
the
that.
US. But if you live in the US and you have the freedom to move, and not everyone does, due to
Aloha,
money or family,
Francis.
but if you do, you have more options and variables to play around with. You can live in New York City, a genuine outlier. You can live in places
Fuck.
that are mild year-round, or sweltering in the summer if you like that for some reason.
another
You can live in
one.
Davis, California, which actually
Maya,
has a nearly
arigato
Danish cycling boat
gozaimasu.
share. You can live
All
in
right,
a rail
so I'm gonna
corridor
be honest.
that's not totally embarrassing by international standards.
All right, this is what we got to do, right? Let's
It's
pause.
fair to group together Canadian
This is gonna
and US
fuck
cities
this
in a
up
lot of
so
contexts.
bad.
But in this video, I wanted to dive deeper and cover some of the differences that I find most interesting and that people often aren't aware of. Thanks for watching through to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and a special thanks to our supporters on Patreon.
So I have. Oh, I get what you're saying. All right. So then I gotta come over here. And then it has to kiss the edge, basically, right? All right. Come up back over here. No! Alright, hold on. I gotta concentrate real quick, y'all. Oh, that's mad terraforming. I'm gonna be honest, this is dog shit. This is straight dog shit. That's dog. Yo, Ice Flake, y'all didn't develop the game. Colossal Order, I'm not trying to talk shit. But that's crazy, dude. You better not be fucking with me. Hold up. Okay. Oh, we did it. Look at that. We nice. If we have more than 300 miles, I mean we gotta sit an hour. So Aloha, I can't say too much. Right? He would have to put me to sleep. Maya. Aloha. In a couple of days, we may be hearing more news. As of right now, we know that Ice Flake has the information and they are trying to get there. But as of right now, you're just stuck. That's why I'm playing my semi-vanilla build. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Wait. No. Yeah, baby. Okay, I'm liking that. Thank you. All right, now, Darius, this is what we're going to do. We have one more bit of homework. If I'm not mistaken, Pork Chop gave us the info for this homework.
For all we like
Oh,
to talk
RM
about
Transit,
great
I like
transit
them.
systems around the
Here you go,
world,
you gotta
one of
like.
the biggest barriers to effective transit is suburban sprawl.
It has
This
been.
is especially true in the U.S.
Oh yeah, of
but
course, I
actually
can do
think
that.
there's a
Sorry.
solution to this problem that lies in what many may see as an unlikely place: Australia.
All right, so bus station is here. Let's add our first bus line. Bless you, Bibs.
If you aren't already, make sure to follow me on Instagram and especially
No.
Twitter, where I share my opinions on transit issues in much more bite-sized chunks. I've given 2 talks at TransitCon in 2 years about
Motherfucker
regional
gone to
rail.
TransitCon?
And so I think it has the potential to be incredibly transformative for actually making areas that haven't traditionally been seen as transit supportive actually pretty accessible via transit. I'm actually also really curious what you think
Thank
the
you.
biggest challenges suburban
Now,
sprawl creates
in
for
terms
transit
of
are. So
stops,
let me know in the comments down below. Now, one of the greatest benefits
our
of
main
regional
city
rail,
is
especially
technically
in North
here.
America, where it costs a lot
Garland
to build
Downs is
transit,
our
that it can
suburb
mostly
getting
be
into the
above
city.
ground. And in
Uptown
cases where
Square
frequencies aren't incredibly high,
is
level
our,
crossings
like,
are also
more
probably
higher
actually
dense area
acceptable,
here.
especially if the design standards we have for them take a little
Aloha,
inspiration
I didn't
from
even
Europe
know.
and Asia. That's helpful because grade separations are another one of those things that we aren't.
Oh yes,
supposed
I
to
actually
get
did it right. I did it right. Look, 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 look. We
Another
cooked. We
huge
cooked.
benefit of
We
regional
cooked.
rail
We're
is
gonna
that it can
detail
see
this as well,
massive room
actually.
for ridership
Don't worry,
growth.
I'm gonna detail
You
this
have
before
room
I
for
stop
large
building.
platforms, which means potentially large trains.
But
And
yeah,
as long
it's
as you can
sunk
have a
down. I
double-track
didn't think it
corridor,
was
there's
synced
no
down,
reason
but I guess it's
singling
meant to
upgrades
sync
and rolling
down.
stock
It's
upgrades
actually
over the
annoying
years,
that it
you
did
can't
that.
turn your regional rail system into effectively a mega-sized subway. Basically, like some German S-Bahn or
Wait, he
Japanese
retired?
regional rail system.
RM Transit
One of the
did?
biggest benefits I see to
No
regional
fucking
rail
way.
over
Oh,
conventional
no.
subway and light rail
Damn.
systems that you especially see in the United States, though, is speed. Now,
Realm,
of course,
what's
where we
good,
draw the
Daddy-o?
line as to what a subway
Also,
is
let me eat this
probably
Reese's
the
real
topic
quick.
for another video
Babes,
that
I'm gonna eat
may
some of the
actually made in the
Reese's.
past. But
Oh,
truth
we
be
didn't eat the
told,
edibles
subway
either,
trains
right?
in
We
the
gotta eat the
U.S. in
edibles.
almost all cases don't actually even get up to highway speeds.
Hold on,
in the
Daddy-o.
best
I'm gonna
case
go chew
scenario.
on some candy real
Regional
quick.
Rail trains, on the other hand, usually have no issue going well beyond highway speeds. Now, I think this is a really undervalued element of regional rail, especially in the context of a country like the US. As much as highways are very bad in a lot of cases, the truth is that they do allow for pretty rapid travel across really sprawling urban areas, and they are still actually relatively high capacity. Now, being able to compete in such urban areas with a lot of long trips and with existing infrastructure that's really conducive to making those long trips.
What we're gonna
means
do
pulling
here
out
is
all of the
put what?
stops and
Let me see.
advocating
We
for
may
speed
have
more
a
than I even
commercial
usually
area,
do. This is where
or
Australia
like signature commercial
like
that we
in
can
the
put
US,
right here.
people in Australia speak English. Who knew? And as it turns out, Australia has a ton of urban sprawl.
You know what
and
does
people
suck?
love their cars. Again, just
We
like
can't
in the
put,
US.
like-
But Australia
I
has
may just
something
need
the
that
US
mod,
doesn't
bro.
have. And it is not just animals.
Because
which
this
have
would
a
just be
penchant for
making
making
it,
your
like,
life miserable. Basically, every major
Let me
city
see
in
something.
Australia has some form of electric regional rail system, a suburban rail for my Australian viewers. Some of these systems are even very extensive, and generally the trains and infrastructure is really great, stuff that any North American city would love to have. Brisbane is even doing its own little RER tunnel, which I talked about in a previous Demystified video. Now, I will say Australian cities do often struggle with last mile transit, buses, or sometimes pedestrian or cycling networks, but that's something we are seeing improve in various places. It's especially true that if you have a good regional rail network that dives deep into the suburbs, there's no reason you can't connect it up to those suburban housing areas with compelling pedestrian and cycling networks, which works especially well in climates like Australia, but also in a lot of the growing Sunbelt cities in the United States. I'm also a believer, from this video here, that park and rides aren't the end of the world as long as they're kept at the urban fringe, and those could be an option in some areas where you want to bring people living in more rural areas into cities. Such systems are also really
But
good
I'm gonna
because they
put
tend to
here,
focus on
the
city
guy
center.
mentioned
And
biking,
that nature of
and
creating
I
a dense city
think
center
we
is one of the
extend
best
our
ways
biking
not only to
network
make transit
here to
more
this bus
effective,
station
but also to start building
for
out a
people to then
compelling
just
core where
circumvent
people can
themselves and get the
live
fuck out of
without
here
a
like
car.
that.
Now, I don't think the Australian model
We
of
also
transit
need a
makes sense
train
everywhere, but one of the
line,
great
which
things
I
about it
think
is that the
that's a
cost
train
to
line
move a
there.
single passenger tends to be fairly low. And that's a really exciting option for cities in the US that tend to have
All right, let
relatively
me
small
double check.
transit operating budgets. If you have bigger vehicles on a few key routes, you can operate them more frequently and move a ton of people.
Yo, bud, I'm happy to hear that you got a rest day, Daddy-O. You definitely needed that, my friend.
In fringe areas and
All
making
right,
transit
I like that, I like that.
And some places in the U.S. are already doing this, like New Jersey, for example. Whether it be metros that aren't really metros.
Let's not talk about anything
cool
beneficial
rail
about New
tunnels
Jersey.
and
Please and
actual
thank you,
metro
sir.
systems. Regional rail also doesn't try to rewrite the history of American cities, and would do relatively well just serving what already exists, rather than hoping that we can change the way we've been operating and suddenly make broad, rapid urban changes. And I'd argue Australia is also a great source for more minor design considerations for the United States as well. Perth, a city I haven't talked about much in this channel, but that's actually super interesting, and we'll definitely get some more videos in the future, is one of those really interesting examples. It uses trains which often travel down the middle of highways, again, not that dissimilar from some systems in the United States. Using mainline trains and highway medians quite extensively would be a great model to export to the United States, where, for better or for worse, a lot of development is centered along highway corridors.
Talk to us.
And while some of those corridors are sometimes used by light rail in places like Denver and Seattle, heavier rail has more potential here because it can frankly just go much faster in these relatively straight and flat corridors. Another pretty solid example of transit design that I see in Australia is their way of doing
nothing is beneficial about New
Jersey.
Jersey.
What you see in the US. To be clear, Toronto has done this with the Up Express, but not with electrified trains.
Hey, waste
And the thing I
management,
find
gang,
most
gang, gang.
interesting is that when you compare Brisbane with
I
Los
ate
Angeles,
3,500
both
calories
cities,
yesterday,
which
and it
will
really
be
helped my
Summer Olympics
recovery,
in the
my
future,
maintenance
downtown
calories
city
around.
center, which a lot of events will actually be happening around, you're going to have to take 3 trains, whereas in Brisbane,
well, you know what, bud? Get those gains, Daddy-O. Get those gains.
You can't reshape your city around regional rail. One of the greatest examples of transit-oriented development in the English-speaking world is probably Chatswood in Sydney, and that allows people to make most of their daily trips without ever needing a car or any kind of other fossil fuel-powered transit. And I think that really needs to be the focus. Even some of the most transit-oriented societies in the world still do have some cars. So if we can use models from Australia to help make cities in the US and in North America more broadly car light, that would be a huge win. Thanks for watching.
That was a cool last video. I like that. I didn't know he retired. That's insane, bro. Hold on. Oh no! Wait. Talk to us.
A year ago, I made my last YouTube.
You know what? Wait, huh?
What followed was a year of reflection, improvement, writing, parenting, and of course having my
Oh, you're a
YouTube channel
parent.
taken over
Congratulations.
by a bunch of other transit creators as well as advocates. It was all a bit melodramatic, but after, like 10 years doing this, I felt like I had kind of earned it. I do have to say, because there is a tendency for people to click out of videos, that there's going to be an announcement about more videos at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around for that. But before then, let's talk shop. Hilariously, just a few months after I shut down RM Transit as a channel that I made videos on, I restarted my blog under the name Next Metro and started basically writing blog posts about once per week for most of the year about public transportation around the world. With an
I don't think I can
focus
add
on
anything
Canada.
over
I've
here.
talked to a lot of
I think
people
we'll
who
keep that as
previously
is.
enjoyed my channel recently, and it seems like people don't realize that I also
And
have
then link
a blog
this
where
up
I
here.
basically
Yeah.
upload
Alright, I think I'm gonna leave
the
that.
same sort of stuff that
Let's
I
start
would have uploaded to
detailing this
YouTube
bus
channel.
station
So
up.
if you're missing the videos, you should go check out the blog. It's also just generally a good way to keep up with what I'm doing alongside the community posts on this channel and my Mastodon. So if you want to stay in the loop, you should follow me or stay subscribed here, and definitely go subscribe to my blog. The reality is, I still really like transportation, albeit usually in places I don't live, because that's where it tends to be less frustrating and seemingly better as well. So ultimately, it just sort of makes sense for me to have an outlet because, I can talk endlessly about transportation issues. I really enjoy doing it. When you have a sort of natural skill, fighting it is maybe not the best idea. So yeah, go subscribe to the blog. consider becoming a paid subscriber if you want some extra posts, some behind the scenes, and if you want me to just kind of keep doing transit advocacy, because yeah, it's really being carried on the back of those paid subscribers at the moment.
What we're gonna do here is I'm gonna add parking, and we're gonna do another little strip mall area right over here. I want the bus to come around the strip mall. This is gonna be the parking where the buildings
will
be.
I realized over writing quite a lot, multiple times, I started and restarted that project a bunch of times, is that I just don't really want to write the parts that are boring. I don't really want to explain what a subway is and the like. And you could try to structure a book, and what's frustrating about it is that when you're writing blog posts or making videos, it's okay to repeat yourself. You don't want to necessarily make video after video that's the exact same thing.
Wait, pork chop, you live in Jersey?
Explaining the same thing multiple times is okay. There doesn't necessarily have to be a strict narrative order to anything. And creating a book, honestly, the sort of meta task of organizing the book, super stressful, didn't really enjoy it, decided that, hey, instead of writing a chapter on tunnels, but then having to think about like, oh, do I talk about stations before tunnels or after tunnels, I could just write a blog post about tunnels and a blog post about stations, and if there's some overlap, that's okay. Suffice to say, if you wanted a book, you wanted to read the book, just subscribe to the blog. Become a paid subscriber if you were considering paying for the book. I'm slowly working through all the topics I wanted to work through in the book, but in a way that's much more enjoyable for me, and that lets me have my specific value adds without having to write about what a bus is beforehand. But this year I didn't actually just blog about subways and buses. I also created a second blog, which I posted a ton to, and which has honestly become my passion project. It's called 5 personnes, as in 5 people, but in French. As in,
that's
the
actually
5
pretty
people
fire.
Closest to you that influence your life, and it's basically just me self-actualizing and trying to be a better, kinder, smarter person in public. It's been a really cool process writing the blog, especially because when you talk about sort of self-improvement or personal development or just personal issues, people feel open to share their own experiences, and I've learned a lot writing it. So it's been a lot of fun and something that's super gratifying. I sort of realized over the process of making videos over the years that I had learned a lot of things about life and about work and about health.
Yeah, this
and,
works. All right, so
writing
right
a blog
over
about
here
that has actually been super gratifying. Transit sort of comes more naturally to me, but I actually sort of feel like I have more to share about just like getting my life together. So you should check that out if that's of interest to you.
We're gonna make this a shopping area here.
Of course, as the year has been coming to a close, I've been reflecting a lot on the fact that I haven't made YouTube videos this year, which was a mainstay of my life for a really long time. And ultimately, I think that an update video here made some sense. I still love this community, as well as public transportation, and given how many people are still subscribed and subscribing to the channel every week, I assume
we
you
love
guys
you,
do
dude.
as well.
You're
Especially
fucking
because
vibe.
I haven't uploaded, much less made a video in months and months. Figuring out how to actually structure this was a bit stressful because I haven't made a video in over a year.
We didn't mean to
and
make you
even
feel
just
stressful,
sitting here in this chair, I'm trying to struggle to not go into my sort of YouTube presenter mode, which is a weird dynamic. If you are a YouTube creator, you might understand this, but there's this sort of persona, cadence of voice, etc. that you go into when you're making a YouTube video. At least for me, that was like a sort of, I don't know, it's like a coping mechanism for the stress of public speaking. And recording this is a bit weird because I feel myself jumping in and out of that. But yeah.
This came out really good. That's actually
this video is meant to be basically an update on me, a bit of a reflection on the last year, and then also
cool.
sort
So
of
we did
what
that.
I've been up to. And so I'm actually going to start with that. What have I been up to? Well, parenting
Hold on
is
one
a
second,
crazy
y'all.
and
Gotta open up
freeing
this
and
new
amazing
bottle.
experience, and it's honestly been what I've spent the most time doing over the last year. It maybe hasn't been the majority of my time, but it has been a huge amount of my time. And it's definitely very gratifying. It's very stressful in my experience. I'm an easily stressed out person. But it's an amazing experience. So yeah, that's been a lot of it.
This
and
actually
honestly,
pissed me off
as
so
I sort of
bad.
talked about last year, exercise is a great antidote to the stress of life in general,
Hold
but
on,
also,
yeah.
of course, of parenting. And what I've really tried to do this year is take my diet from sort of okay to good. And that's been where I've been focusing a lot of my energy, as opposed to just going running and cycling all the time. Of course, that is except for this time of year when my friends are bringing over all kinds of fancy European chocolates and I'm just eating horribly, which is not the best. And then there's the writing. I sort of already mentioned the blogs, and in particular on the second one, I've been able to write about AI, the gradual decline in quality of consumer services, which I'm describing in this drawn-out way because family-friendly, reducing plastic waste, angst about housing and the climate, damage control, old ways of doing things, and all kinds of other stuff. So you know what's crazy?
Usually with mine, you could just like take off that foil like that, bro. This motherfucker made me work.
Blog about transit, where I talk about transit, obviously. I've been writing for a lot of Canadian publications. The Toronto Star I've been in quite a number of times this year, and I also wrote for the Globe and Mail earlier this year. These are kind of major publications in Canada. And so that has been an interesting experience. I've also been writing on the website Urban Toronto a ton, which is kind of a nice capstone to this
he is such a dope
interest in transit and urbanism, because Urban Toronto is
we gotta
really
find what anime blogs I can write
for Toronto.
Why I can tell them that Bleach is a shitty anime.
The biggest and most active traditional internet forums that is still out there. It's basically a forum and a map of every even slightly substantial development or construction project. All
right, let me get to business now. Let's really get this working.
It has all kinds of interesting discussion. I've certainly learned a lot on the website, and I write there several times a month. So that's also something I've been working on. What's funny is that I remain sort of obsessed with Toronto despite not actually living there. And I spent my entire YouTube career, including when I wasn't living in Toronto, talking about Toronto and its big transit projects that were going to imminently open. And none of them actually opened when I was doing YouTube. But recently, one of them did. Now, I have a whole script written out on my phone, but I'm just going to look at this section. And... yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try to freestyle this, which is something I used to do on my YouTube channel. Didn't work as well, but maybe I'm a bit better at speaking now. So a couple weeks ago, I headed into the city. I got up really early, which, as you'll know,
actually, I think I know how I want to do
this. If you have ever been sleep deprived, is not a lot of fun.
It's not a lot of fun.
Toronto had really terrible winter weather quite early this year, at least relative to my experiences when I was in the city, and so it was kind of miserable and cold. But I went to the Finch West light rail opening. I will say the TTC invited me to it, which was really nice, though it was a bit unfortunate because my first invite to a Toronto Transit opening was once I had actually stopped making YouTube videos about Toronto Transit, but still grateful for the invite. It was a really fun vibe before we got on the tram. And then honestly, it was just a kind of a depressing experience. Some people around me were very excited, and I guess I was excited a bit as well, but it was just so bad. And I don't say that to try to exaggerate. I've had a few conversations with people where they're like, oh, you know, people are really blowing this out of proportion, and I just wonder if they had ridden it. I think maybe some trips on the light rail
they gotta fix this collision thing, bro.
That makes sense. It's not really how it should work on a consistent rail line, but, you know, the trips I took were crawling along and hearing people say that, oh, it's the first day, oh, it's, you know, winter weather. It was very frustrating because I've ridden other transit lines on the first day in winter weather a bunch of times, and they were not this crazy slow. I sort of expected the tram to go quickly between the stops.
Yeah, it's a tram.
And what was crazy was we would just sort of like slowly pull out of a stop, and we would just sort of keep going at that slow pace until the next stop. And it was mind-boggling. And as we're sort of looking out at the car washes and strip malls, a friend sort of referenced one of the things that I think the former chief planner of Toronto once said, which is that these streetcars are great because you can kind of see all the stuff along the street that you might want to go to, and of course, like, it was car washes and stuff. And,
wow. Well, I'm sorry, not everybody can have good business.
You want to patronize, and yeah, it was just depressing. I felt really depressed. We got short-turned, which is kind of a classic Toronto streetcar thing. Kicked off into the snow.
No
service
way.
was unreliable, it was slow, it was a multi-year project, billions of dollars, and a lot of people worked hard on this project, and so I feel bad saying this stuff to some extent, but it sort of feels like when you're at school and sometimes you work really hard on a project and you get a bad grade, because you worked hard doesn't mean you made a good thing. And
that is true,
that's how I
which
feel
is
about
unfortunate
this project.
in life.
And so, not a good experience. A bunch of people came up to me and said hi. My apologies. I was not in a good mood.
Damn.
It was particularly rude, but I was short with people. And yeah, I just kind of headed home after writing it.
All right,
like,
so
twice, which is totally uncharacteristic for me. Usually I'd be wanting.
I'm down for everybody being on a spectrum in any way they need to be in the spectrum. But, dude, unfortunately, you become somebody in a lot of people's lives. You are other people's heroes. You should reflect better in public, dude. And it seems that you're allowing yourself to be perturbed and bothered and annoyed because you're in the midst of finding yourself that you are being short and distant with people. I do not think that that is a proper thing to do. I think for anybody who has any type of like essence in life, like they are somebody to somebody else, just do your best to like be patient and understanding. The universe that's inside of your head is not the universe that other people are seeing or dealing with, okay? And that's just something I feel. Also, Wolf, I appreciate that, Daddy-O. You're actually my hero, but I appreciate you, Daddy-O. Make a one-way out of the... Oh, wait. I get it. You know what's crazy? This... Wait, from the departure side. Over here, right? This is part of the assets. That's why I didn't want to mess with it, per se. I could make one this way. Yeah, you know what? You're not wrong. Let me see. Can I do this? Hold on. Now I'm curious. I think I can do this. I won't. Alright, and then make that a one-way. Can I make that a one-way double lane? Oh, there's no double. Wait, is it? Oh, come on, don't fuck me. Wait a second. There's not a double one-lane... a double one-way road? That's impossible. Alright. This is crooked, by the way. Can I... Hold on, give me a second. Cause yeah, there's no one way on there. There's not. Alright, anyway, that's all my feelings I have on this guy.
New transit line a ton, but it was really depressing.
Let me see. Maybe I gotta unlock it?
Fortunately, kind of got to work with two friends who I had written a Toronto Star piece about fixing the Spadina streetcar.
I don't see it.
Toronto
Also, let me get that.
And as it turns out, despite years of people telling me otherwise, the Finch West Light Rail is basically being run as a streetcar. And so
I ain't gonna lie, just seeing all of these little motherfuckers just run around their lives is so cute.
As expected by everyone who kind of knows what they're talking about on this subject. So there's been, because we had written this article, there was actually some political momentum already towards like maybe we're going to fix the streetcars. And amazingly, the Finch West Light Rail opening in this state and being so clearly very slow, it's kind of crazy seeing the politicians on it smiling and like officials saying like, oh, It'll get faster once we kind of figure it out, as if they hadn't been testing it for months. But anyways, there was actually, it turns out, a lot of political will to speed it up because, wow, this is embarrassing. And
it looks
wow,
crooked.
Like, why did we
I'm gonna leave it.
Our own transit project?
I'm gonna
because
leave
a lot
it
of
for
why it's
right
slow
now,
is
but
just
it does
within
look
the control
crooked.
of various government agencies.
And
who
then that
decided
does bother me.
I guess no one was saying.
Also,
like,
yeah, we gotta get
people wanna build
surfaces.
places
Like,
fast,
surfaces need to be part of the game.
Which
Like,
is crazy, and a real indictment of how transit development
or they
goes
just need to give us
in
more
Toronto at the moment.
surfaces.
But it seems like, you know, cross the fingers, things are going to get sped up. It seems like there might be interest in doing a lot of stuff. I am in various conversations with
Okay, Mr.
policymakers,
Various
politicians,
conversations.
etc., about how that might happen. It seems like this might be used to improve the streetcars as well. Mayor Olivia Chow has made some motions about it, as well as the TTC chair. So I guess I'm optimistic that things might be changing, and I really hope they do. And if they do, it's like, wow, they really took a moment and had a great political response to it.
All right,
and
let's do
this is amazing.
this.
We used the failure
Let's
of a
grab
project
in some
because
trees.
this is a failure so far as I see it. To make not only this project much better, but also the entire downtown streetcar network. So if that happens, amazing. But yeah, just feeling kind of depressed that a transit line was opened in this state. We knew it was going to be like this. I wrote about this. I made videos about this. The Eglinton Crosstown, by all means, seems like it will also be super slow. Maybe not even just on the surface section, but definitely on the surface section. And yeah, it's not really a surprise to me. Being vindicated in this way does not feel good. I'm not happy about it. It's depressing. I want transit to be fast and good, even if it's not like my favorite transit project. And yeah, it just made me sad to think that like the people who are going to be using this,
here.
it doesn't
Looks
get
like a
fixed.
cool transit.
It might
I
just be
appreciate
left
that,
like this
Mrs.
forever. Like the Toronto
Small
streetcars have
roads
been
tab.
left for years and years, just slower and slower and slower, and sucking, frankly. At least the bus previously moved kind of consistently and fairly quickly.
Where?
And so, yeah, I think that this has made me quite uninterested in
like
transit
in pathways?
in Toronto, at least. And I'm still blogging about it and writing about it, but it definitely, there was a feeling of passion I had before writing this thing in general about transit. And I think I've written about this somewhere, but the idea for them was that, oh, the Ottawa LRT derailed, and it was you know, like being driven too aggressively. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, Wolf,
I'm
playing I'm playing vanilla, dude.
Faster, and the issue is not aggressive driving, but infrastructure and trains that aren't up to snuff.
Okay. I didn't know that. I'm so used to having it in my repertoire.
LRT's problems, which is that you open
but that'd
a new
be
transit
fine.
system and
That'd
it
be
sucks.
fine.
And
let's
the people
actually
who were
implement
using the
that
old
bus
thing
system, though.
now have to decide, like, am I going to use the new thing? And you know, I think we're going to lose a ton of transit riders through this. I think people that don't ride the line are going to say, like, yeah, you know, transit's slow and unreliable. And you know, I've heard people say that criticizing it for these things is what's going to make people notice that. And I think that's ridiculous, because ultimately, like, people are not idiots. They can ride the thing.
They're not idiots.
Media commentators have ridden the thing. They know it's slow. People are racing it. They're racing it on other buses that are faster, and on foot and it's faster, and on bike and it's faster. And yeah, it's just, it's reality. It's not great. And I'm depressed about it. And yeah, it's definitely made it a bit harder to write about this stuff. So yeah. Anyways, that's how I've been feeling. So I've been thinking about other things than transit, because those things bring me joy. And so ultimately, I think it's a good thing that for the first time in a long time, I get to enjoy
that's
a life
completed.
that was not
Now I have
mostly
2
defined
more
by public
routes.
transportation and the dysfunctional
We've done
way that it's
the circumference of this area coming down this way here.
So often in
I'm
Canada,
thinking maybe we
so
have
close
one come
to
out,
doing,
go
a
this
great
way.
thing. And in some cases, transit is pretty good. You know, Vancouver is pretty good.
I don't know. Maybe we don't need it just yet. I gotta still build out this city.
But there is just a real sense that a lot of people don't care and drive cars, and so they just don't imagine what it would be like to rely on transit.
And that won't fuck up the buses going there,
the
right?
nice thing is to not be making YouTube videos, to have to kind of, you know, go through this experience, this traumatic relationship with the
Zia. I don't. Wait,
well, it's my
Zia, my bad.
sort of
I don't know,
career,
Zia,
and
if
it's
you
the thing I
realize, but
spend
I've
my
been playing
weekends
vanilla,
doing
well,
at late
semi-vanilla.
nights. And honestly, not working
let
on
me see
transit
something.
YouTube
Wolf said
videos
use
this year, it
one-way
meant I got to
roads.
spend a ton of time with friends and family and with my kid and my wife, and that was fantastic.
Why is the taxi
As I
doing
think
that?
I've
Oh,
communicated
God.
through my blogs, I also spent a lot of time working on myself, learning, meeting new people, trying new things. I supported other creators so that they could make things that I think are good for the world instead of me making the thing. But honestly, I also just unplugged, as cliche as it is to say. I tried to avoid going on social media.
Congratulations,
and I mostly
dude.
succeeded for a large portion of the year. And it sort of makes me reflect on the fact that I had a career on social media platforms. And I don't really think of YouTube as the bad social media, which I'm biased to do. But also, I do think it's more educational. But the other social platforms are bad. They make me angry. When I don't use them, I feel happier. And I do feel bad for kind of getting people
Oh,
to
that's
spend more
actually
time on them,
annoying,
because
bro.
ultimately I think
Alright.
it's, bad
This
for
is what we're
people
gonna
and
do.
for
Come
our
here.
society.
You get over
I've
here.
tried to draw up a 2026
You stay,
that sees me
just
doing
stay here.
more of the
Just
positive
stay
stuff.
there.
I'll
Stay there.
probably find myself doing
None of
more
y'all
transit
move.
activism,
Everybody stay
trying to
still.
get the streetcars in Toronto to speed up, as well as the new light rail lines. But there's a lot of other stuff that, frankly, I think is more important to me at this point, because
No,
I have
don't do
loved
that.
and lost with Toronto Transit and Transit in Canada in general. I think at this point, short of becoming like the Minister of Transport, I am unlikely to return
You should
to
become
my
the Minister
former
of Transport
levels
then,
of
dude.
passion and
Why
interest.
not?
But, you know, who knows? I do like this stuff, so maybe that'll change. Anyways, I'm planning on focusing this year on learning a lot. I'm learning 2 new languages right now. I want to eat differently again. I want to reduce my impact on the planet. I want to think about increasing my positive impact on other people in my community. I want to spend time
That's dope.
cooking and woodworking and playing team sports and doing art and just generally enjoying a simpler, better life that doesn't involve me broadcasting constantly. But also,
get you on
since
that
I
one,
do
dude.
kind of enjoy
Not
this
really.
conversational thing that you get when you record something and upload it, I am going to be doing some podcasty type stuff in the new year. I'm going to be
All
uploading
right.
it to my blogs, but I'll probably also end
So,
up uploading
Wolf
some of it
said
here
one
to
way,
YouTube,
right?
because YouTube is happy to have your podcasts as well. And I think because I am kind of not so invested in my YouTube channel anymore and on saying a certain thing because I think it's going to, perform well on YouTube. To be clear, that wasn't really a major driver in anything I did, but, like the topics you talk about and stuff, it does weigh in. I think being able to sort of just have free-form conversations with people and a stream of consciousness talking about public transportation would probably be interesting. And so if there's any particular topics you'd like to see me talk about, I'll have a Google form in the description. If you leave a detailed topic, I'm more likely to consider talking about it, obviously. So consider that. And there is one more thing.
There's
Apple
one more
keynote
thing,
style.
Chucky.
I'm working on a project with a couple other content creators, and so you should stay tuned for that as well.
Can't
I'll
yo,
probably announce it on my
I
blogs,
know
probably
I
also
don't
on
do
community
this,
posts
bro.
here, and
I
probably on
clicked this like
Mastodon.
twice
You should
already,
try to
bro.
follow me in all the places because that way you don't miss anything. It's going to be a project that will definitely involve some transport, but it'll probably involve various other things as well, and I'm quite excited for it. I think it's going to have a positive impact, and I think you're really going to like it. So with that, another year has ticked by. Thank you for sticking with me and for watching
You're
what I
welcome,
assume
dude.
is a rather long video.
Though
hope
I don't
you
really
have a
stick with
fantastic
you like that, but
2026.
I support your vibes. Wolf, does that look better? I don't think he's famous, but he is pretty known. I've watched a couple of his videos not knowing who he was. It did. But then I can't say shit because, like, I'm an amateur. You know what? No, I think I know what we go for. Switch account. No, we are gonna go music. We're gonna go divorce dad rock. So, this is what's gonna happen. We're going back to the back to regular. YouTube, you will get master plan music. Enjoy. That's going to be popping up in just a few seconds. Hold up. There we go. All right. Wolf, I appreciate that, Daddy-O. I appreciate that. Now, for us, where's my playlist at? Playlist. Dude, no, I don't want to play that. No, I don't. I definitely don't. I'm gonna keep it because I think some of you guys might like it, but... Wait, does it really? Wolf, you're just like... You and Meyer are like the people that keep me afloat, you feel me? You're just too nice, Wolf. You're just too nice. Look. You had one shot, one opportunity. Okay, where's my bus routes? Oh, it's okay. Everything's stuck. Palms sweaty, knees weak, arms spaghetti. I'm in a sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. He look calm and ready to drop bombs, but he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd wrote so loud, won't come out. Should I do the white double-decker bus? No, I know what I'm gonna do that for. Let's go. All right. And then what I will do here, lose yourself in the music the moment you want it. You only get one shot. Do not let this chance to go. This opportunity now. Escaping, soul is escaping. Make me king. Alright, we do that bus. Alright. Let's do that. That bus goes... What's this city right over here? Eden Springs. Eden Springs. Self in the music the moment you want it. It's ready to go once in a lifetime. Alright, we will call this Eden Springs. So Fashionilla to Eden Springs. Alright. Buddy! And then our inner city bus, we will call this Fashionilla, so FN1. This is the first bus line. FN1, and that's a perimeter bus line. And then what I want to do is keep that. We will do CO bus for that. And we will make that a $2 ticket. 6 buses. Alright. Let that cook up real quick. It's opportunity, once in a lifetime. Alright, we will do a pathway here. Anytime we see any openings, let's just tackle that shit. Let's just tackle it. Let's not even play, bro. And then what I'm going to do here is grab some tree. Let me see here. Can I? Yeah. Here we go. Alright. Okay. Alright, now we get some real rock. Let's go. Not to say what we weren't listening to wasn't real rock, but you know, we reviving now. There we go. There we go. And then this is how you're gonna get the details out of your city, dude. This is how we are gonna do that. Oh! Give me... Yes! We get a building! Give me more! Yes! And have vista! And Docklands Tower! Yes! Activity. It was a pop rap. Wait, what was a pop rap? Sorry, Wolf. I'm so... Sorta, disorder. Somewhere. Disorder, disorder, disorder. More wood for the fires and angels. Alright. Even seasons last time activity. YouTube, I'm sorry. Y'all come over to Twitch. We got y'all. We'll play y'all the good music. Unless they like me singing System of a Down to Master Plan music, then, you know, that's what we do. And honestly, once you just grab your textures, then it's just detailing around it. Ah! This song at Interlagos last year was something I don't... Really? Let's go. Ah, yeah, I get what you're saying. But that's why they call it hip-hop. Because it's like hip popular music. Bagnadio! Silence and tree somewhere. Disorder, disorder, disorder. And then over here, yeah, I think we make that a pathway as well. Do I care for this Foo Fighters song? I don't. Oh, I like this song though. Excusez-moi. Yeah, I get you, Wolf, but then you've heard like the deep cuts on his albums, because then you can say the same for like Drake. You can say the same for Kanye West sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's really hard. Remember, Ja Rule had a whole 3 years where he was doing sing-songy hip-hop, like pop music. We cannot be without my baby. You see me crazy. Like, Wolf, come on now, Wolf. I don't know, man. And I was a Ja Rule fan until 50 bodied him. Don't crash on me, game. You've been on your best behavior all day. It's innocent. Damn. I don't have my lights either. Fuck. Go. Alright, I vibe with that. There we go. Come over here. Because again, I have to detail. If I don't detail, I'm not Fashion 40. I'm just letting y'all know that. Alright, there we go. Alright. Alright, that's what I'm talking about. Here we go. That's fine. I think I don't want these buildings to grow too high. So we're gonna stop you from growing. We're gonna stop you from growing. You're definitely, yeah, you're level 5. You're good now, okay. And are you level 5? You're good. Okay, sick. Ah, all right, Wolf. I definitely got you. Oh, of course, Andre 3000. Yo, Bagnario, I'm light skinned. Yes, I am. I used to be a fuckboy. Yes, I will never disrespect Bagnario. I will never disrespect Andre 3000 by saying Drake is better than him. Now, has Drake sold more than him? Yes. Has Drake amplified more artists than him? Yes. But you know, some things happen. You feel me? All right. Okay. paranoid looking over my head. It's like a whirlwind inside of my head. It's like a face inside. It's right beneath the skin. It's like a paranoid. It's like a whirlwind inside of my head. It's like a... goes down. Hold on, we gotta make sure we close. All right. I think that's gonna work out a little bit. Let's come over here. I don't think I'm allowed to put trees on top of these though, right? I don't think I am. Which kind of sucks, bro. Alright, I'm gonna actually skip this fucking song. I don't know why. I know I picked aggro out. Don't do this to me, dude. Don't do this to me. In 2 pieces, this is my last resort. Hold on. Hold on, give me a second, y'all. It was fucking with my playlist. This is the playset I want to listen to. No. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm almost there. In 2 pieces, this is my last resort. Let's go. Alright, I'm hyped. This is my last resort. So wait, it's not gonna let me put the tree on top of there. Fuck you. Be wrong with to be right. I took my life tonight. Chances are that I might. And I contemplated suicide. Losing my mind. If somebody will tell me I'm fine. Alright. Alright. How are we looking population-wise? We're at 1.9 mil. Money, what about population? Oh wow, we're at 24K. Okay, we're cooking. Alright. Now, The Amazing World of Gumball premiered 15. That was. Oh, wow. Eesh. Yo, bass guitar, what's good, Daddy? Yo, how art thou, man? Alright, that worked out pretty well. We've redeveloped this a little bit. I do think I'm gonna put like parking here. And maybe, do I have a park maintenance depot? Let me see something. ground air. All right. I have a bunch of parks. Park maintenance depots there, so that's cooking. So then, all right, we're fine on that end. All right, so what I'm gonna go back is to detailing this area up over here. This way. Can't go on. All right. All right, something like that. Alright, something like this. Yo, Baze, I appreciate the follow, Daddy-O's. Thank you for thugging it out on Twitch for me. Woo! Let's go, big W's, more bubbles. Babs, more wine, please. Let's go. Alright. One more glass of wine, Daddy-O's. I say one more. It's about to be two more before I go to sleep tonight. I do have work tomorrow. Today I put in I made like $5,600 for the store. I think we did 21K, so I was like just about 25% of the business. So that was a vibe. You know, we had a successful day today. Stream has been really good so far. You guys have been hella supportive. Sorry I'm not building modded, but at least I get to see how I play vanilla. Also, yo, look at all of these people, bro. That's so fire, bro. That's so fire. They're actually using the buses. Even sees is the fast time activity. The toxicity in my city. No, what are you talking about? Soda. Yes. More rounds. Wait, Maya, second round of the blunt? Is that what you're saying? We got one more in us. We got one more in us. Oh, yes. Okay. Daddy-O's camera is going to go off one more again. I'm going to smoke this Blizzungtons. I think we're going to continue to detail here. I'll make that probably a park area. That makes the most sense. Yeah, we're gonna make this a park. Let me get a park out here. Sacred and silence and seed somewhere. Alright. Alright, and then over here, I want to do... Let's go! Bass guitar! I appreciate the Prime sub! Let's go. More bubbles. Wait. Oh, damn. Where's my cam? Mad bubbles. Oh yeah, yo, base. They make it, once you figure it out, they make it pretty easy, dude. All the bubbles. And these are real life bubbles, by the way. The missus is addicted to her bubbles. And I enjoy them. Here you go, babes. Alright, let me get... Yeah, man. I'm down with the sickness. Why is this not working? I think right here, this is gonna be hard to fix. Let's go all the way down here. Yep. Yeah. Alright, I actually like this. Damn, that fucks me up. No, I don't like that. I don't like that. That's actually upsetting me, bro. My God. I'm gonna leave it for right now, but yeah. I think that works out. That really does bother me a little bit. Alright, and then let's come over here. Let's grass texture that. Thank you. I think that's the vibe we go for. Oh, Bagnario, semi 100%. I have find it just in case I needed to find an asset and I have to put zoning under it because I'm not playing plops. And then I have time and weather anarchy on. There may be some local mods here or there and then some custom mods, but for the most part, pretty vanilla. It's real. I don't know. Like, this is asking me to be a corridor. And then what if I do a tram all the way here? No, that won't work. Can it come down? That may work. I won't put the tram now, but I do need a tram. I do need a tram, bro. Let me see what's going on right now. All right, let's check out what does our traffic look like. It'll forever be 60 because like it just doesn't change. We're consuming hella electricity. Yeah, if it's like low, you should be fine. But to be honest, even in this mod place that I'm playing with, it took a minute to load. But it was especially noticeable for Brooklyn, as Brooklyn I've had since like February of like 2025. Oh, we're fucked on fire. Let's get a fire department out here. Can I fit a fire department anywhere? I guess right over here. Yeah, I don't see anywhere else to put a fire department. I could put one here. No, it's good, man. Alright. Let's see. Maybe I do put the fire department here. Do we got a cute one? Oh, we got an old-timey one. Wait, that's medical. I need fire. No, nobody would put a fire department right there. That's insane. But though it's right by the cemetery, that would make sense. But in front of a bus stop like that? I'm overthinking this so much. Alright, we'll keep that. Yo, Bagnario, this is actually an old city as well, too. We've been playing this vanilla city since Bridges and Ports. I don't usually build on it, though. Yo, Maya, that's a bus stop. Look. Right there. Watch. Wait, stop! Hold on. Ah, my eyes! Yes! You know what's crazy? I should move it. Or I should move it up one block. But they are taking this bus though. That's really, really good to see. Wait, you know what's crazy? Now that I'm reading what you said over, no, there is no bus stop. I'm thinking of the Matrix. No, there is no spoon. Here you go, love. You can kill that. Alright, Daddios. We are on some rocky rock shit today. Alright, let's see what... Now we're just following this bus route. I just want to see how both of these bus routes work. We gotta figure out a way to implement trams here. It is hitting our industrial area right now, so that's really, really good. This song always sounds so fucking low, bro. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay. They lucky I don't play the Little Uzi Vert one. You already know, like. There's a lot of traffic in our industrial area. I do want to get rid of this landfill. We'll probably put some housing projects there, though, to be honest. This is probably where we'll build our most vanilla complex housing projects. The traffic is OD over here. Right? We're not gonna get anywhere right now, bro. I should connect that with like up with the surface so that it looks more cohesive. Sorry, y'all. That yawn was from all of my tiredness from today. And then all of the blunts. Alright. Come on now. Come on now. I need you to... It's so much traffic here, bro. Deserve to die. Fuck them all, burn them all, burn them all. Hold me to your head, I can in my spirits. Alright, we're making some ground right now. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, bus. Let's go, bus.
We love riding the bus.
We do. My self-righteous suicide. I like that little lime green building. There's so many opportunities to detail. We gotta really detail that up. Is it gonna move? It should move, yeah. What song was this? Southtown? Oh yeah, I like Southtown. This traffic though? Like a part of me wants to make this road bigger. I wish I can push those assets back. Alright. Hurry up. We're almost at the bus stop, right? No, we're not, bro. We're so far. Wait, where did it go? Did it disappear? Daddios, it disappeared. Did the bus disappear? It disappeared! Oh no! Wait, where did the bus go? Bro, it's 157 people waiting. What the fuck? Hold the fuck up. Really? %, 400. That's OD. All right, let's hope. All right, let me see what's happening here. Wow. Yo, dude. All right, there's a bus like right behind it. Hold on. Dude, we just don't have space. Wow. Yeah, your eyes. Oh, yes, my bad. Okay. So we're kind of fucked on space. Those buses is coming out. Oh, I'm just so confused. Alright, so that's that. I do need a crosstown bus as well. Alright. I think what I want to do is come back over here, add in some industry on this side. Back here, we're going to do some more parking. Breaks down. No. Yeah. No, maybe we make this more rural. Tomorrow. All right. All right. No. Give me a two-way. Yep. All right, I think that's much better. Tomorrow. All right, we'll keep with that. I think that's fine. That's gonna be fine. Bus steeple. I don't think there's anything else I really need. No, what do we have? This time, I'm sorry. Poplar! What's good, Daddy-O's? I haven't been giving shoutouts all day today, honestly. But Poplar, I have to give one out to you. You are a gentleman and a champ. Part-time gamer, full-time asset map maker. Of course, Daddy-O, of course. Alright, what else do I want to do over here? Do I want to just add parking lots back here and here? Wolf, you're all good, Daddy-O. We're so chilling right now, bro. Tonight has been a very dope night so far. It's weird that... No, wait. No, they're two different road networks. No, that works. That's gonna work. All right. All right, and then what we're gonna do here, we're gonna put a bar here, bro. Let's go to signature. All right, right over there. Yo, dude, everything's pretty chill, to be honest. We're playing semi-vanilla, a little bit of mods, like 34. As long as I got time and weather anarchy, and then I have find it, I'm pretty okay. I do miss my decals, bro. I do miss my decals so fucking much. But no, besides that, we're pretty much vibing out. I've been taking from some of the specialized industry over here and adding that into over here, and then trying to see if I can increase using the particle board factory, because it requires wood. So all the wood you need, motherfuckers, come from right here. Yo, bud, you really do, Daddy-O. You really do. But not mines, but the real one. Alright. Let me see how this looks over here. Is that all you got? Alright. Let's add that in there. Let me see what else. I do need to continue this. Honestly, this may be a whole episode because I want to add some more around here as well. Alright. I love that. I love that. Right, let's go over here. All right. All right. I think this one here. Right. All right. All right. Cute. Now let's get a tree. Right. Right. Beautiful, Daddy-O. Beautiful. Are these at its limit? I think they are. They are. Alright. I think we're good. So, overall, Daddy-Os, we didn't take too much from the industry. A little bit over here, a lot of bit over here. You know what, Bud? You may just be more toned, bro. Or you give off that aura. Alright, let me save this real quick because I'm super... Daddy-O, I'm so stoned and tipsy right now. Alright, we will save that. Resume game. Yes. Alright, so we're gonna watch this fly over real quick. Yo, Maya, I'm so fucking lit right now. I am so lit. I don't know if you saw, I'm lit. I was like, oh, I gotta put down the mouse and keyboard. Alright, while that is rocking out, let me see what else I can do. I love this song. Word? Okay, bud. Thank you for the info, Daddy-O. Because I ain't gonna lie, I really did not think that was true. Alright. Let me see here. How am I gonna go about this? Interesting. That does seem a little bit more complex than what I can fathom, but I do see how that makes sense. Do we have anybody playing Cities Skylines right now? Nah, everybody stopped playing. Wow. Wow. Shit. All right. What's going on? Are you gonna drive? Wait, Wolf, are you still having issues loading up the game? You couldn't yesterday. Yeah, everybody does. You're not wrong, Bagnario. Let me go to who I'm following. What do I think? Oh! Hippie Redneck is on. Wait, is he on? No, he's not. Oh, I was about to get got. Ah, he was playing Magic. Alright, Victorious. Should I raid Andy or Victoria? I don't want to go for like the top streamer. Oh, but y'all like music too, right? Alright, Daddios, so this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna send y'all guys into some music. Alright? His bot turns on his streams? That's crazy. Wait, should I stream into music or no? Or should I stream into gameplay? Oh, 07. Alright, Daddy, we're gonna stream into the music. I'm actually vibing with the music. YouTube, thank y'all so much for the views tonight. To all the Daddios in stream, yo, I love y'all to death. Maya, Wolf, Shock, you guys are my heart, bro. Like, seriously, you guys are my heart. I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all so much. Maya, thank you so much. Daddios, y'all have a great night. Bagnario, yeah, bro, I'm on my last. We're out in 10 seconds. Much love, Daddios. Much love, man. Peace.